I still cannot hear you. Eileen, I can see you again, but I still can't hear you. I'm sorry. Can you make sure that the right audio device is selected in the webinar program under options? Okay.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this Tampa City Council meeting to order. At this time, I yield to Councilmember Clendenin for a moment of silence, correct? Please stand, and then we'll follow the moment of silence with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call, please.
Carlson.
Here.
Kurtik.
Here.
Clendenin.
Here.
Henderson.
Present.
Vieira. Miranda.
Here.
Maniscalco.
Here.
You have a physical quorum.
All right, before we get into any business and the agenda, I'd like to introduce Angela Kroll, who is here with staff and students from the South Tampa Micro School. The students, as you see them coming in, are ages 5 to 11, and it is the Mayor's Civics Experience Day, and they are learning about the local, state, and national government. Ms. Kroll, if you'd like to say anything.
Hi, thank you guys for having us today. We just really appreciate having the experience for the kids to have a way to learn this in a very hands-on way, seeing the real experience. So thank you. We appreciate you guys having us here today.
Thank you very much, and a special shout out to Veronica Maroney. If she's here. Her mom is Dossie. She's legislative aide to Councilmember Carlson. So thank you for being here today. We appreciate you all coming down. There's lots and lots more. Any council member wish to say anything?
Good morning, girls and boys. Good morning, boys and girls.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I said good morning. Good morning.
All right, anybody else? No?
Now, welcome to City Hall.
Welcome. Thank you very
Welcome,
much.
everybody.
Anybody else want to say anything? No? Yes, ma'am?
Both Councilwoman Henderson and I are former teacher, or well, she's a current teacher, I'm a former teacher, and so it's really important to have you all here today, learning about government from the earliest age on, and hopefully we can have you here more often.
Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
All right.
My daughter is Veronica
Flower in her hair.
Hi.
I see you back there. I see you back there.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah. All right, we'll just wait a moment as they exit. In the meantime, can I get a motion to adopt the minutes from March 7, 2024 and March 21st, 2024? We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. All right, we'll just wait a minute before we go into housekeeping. We have a few agenda items.
We have a light agenda today. You think we'll be done that early?
No, I think we'll be done by 5. No? All righty. All righty, thank you very much. At this time, I'm going to go over the agenda, just a couple of housekeeping items. I have a memo received from Councilmember Vieira that due to a conflict, he will not be arriving to the meeting until 1 p.m. today. and is requesting any pressing items requiring his vote be held until that time. I want to put that into the record.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I think, what do we mean by pressing items, though? Do we just continue on with the agenda and then?
Yeah,
Because there
anything
were
that
no,
requires, that would be, could be a tie vote, a vote, anything.
because there are a lot of them that are big issues on the
Yeah,
agenda
no,
today.
well, we're good, I'll get to like lunch and everything and the rest of it, but,
Mr. Chairman. So additionally, I just want clarification. So we're only talking about the 3-3, or 3-3 vote, correct?
hold on, I'm gonna get to it. That was, I'll get to it.
Okay.
It'll come up in just a minute. So I have a memo received from Councilmember Miranda removing item number 1 from the agenda and placing it on the April 11th evening meeting. Is that a motion, sir?
That's so moved, Chairman.
All right, motion from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor? Aye. I have a memo received from Councilmember Vieira requesting item number 3 to be continued to the April 4th regular session. Can I get a motion to that effect? We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We have a memo from Mr. Morris Massey requesting item 58 be, okay. Item 58 to be continued to April 18th. May I have a motion to that effect? Motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from? Second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor? Aye. A request from Mr. Elise Drumgo requesting item number. A memo received from.
58 and 59 go together.
Memo received from Mr. Elise Drumgo requesting item number 59. Yeah, I have it here. Here we go. I have a memo received from Mr. Elise Drumgo requesting item number 59 be continued to April 18th. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor? Aye. A memo received from Nicole Travis requesting item 62 be heard under staff reports after item 91. We have a motion and from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor? Aye. And then we have a memo received from Mr. Mark Bentley requesting item number 81 be withdrawn. But it says we can't act on it until after 9:30 a.m., correct? Because it's a public hearing, we'll get to it after public comment, but be on notice that item number 81, we will go to make a motion to withdraw. So we'll
Wasn't there a
hold that.
memo on number 63 also? That's the Jackson House one. I don't see it referenced here.
It's
but I
just a
thought-
resolution. It doesn't say memo or anything.
I thought it was continued now. Okay, we'll just go.
We'll leave that. If something comes up, we'll take it up.
Did you want that pulled to discussion for staff or not?
No? I thought there was a memo to continue, but Elise will let us know if it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so, under staff reports, I'm going to go one by one. We will have an administration update. The administrative update will be Ms. Nicole Travis. Item number 91, yes, we'll have staff here for that. Item number 92, yes, because of the amount and obviously for what it is. Yes on item number 93, there's a written report. Would anyone like?
Yes.
Staff? Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Mulkey just has a few things he wants to talk about.
Okay, we'll have staff for 93, staff for 94? Yes?
Yes.
All right. Staff for item number 95, there's a written report. All right, no staff for 95. All right, item number 96, there's a written report from this. I'm satisfied with it. I've made the motion for it. Does anybody wish to have staff? If not, no staff for 96. Yes, sir?
Mr. Chair, on 97, I was out yesterday, but before that, I didn't see anything new on this, so I would like to continue it to number 97 to May 6th.
All right, we have a motion to continue 97 until May 6th by Councilmember Carlson.
16th.
May 16th, I'm sorry. Item number 97, continue to May 16th. Motion from Councilmember Carlson, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
I think the memorandums kind of stand for themselves. I don't really think there's any more motion, anything more to do on this.
Yeah, I think that
Go ahead.
the issue is that we asked for, this gets in a longer conversation, but if we ask the real estate and planning department to do something, they always say, no, they can't do it. And so I'm continuing it because they keep saying no, and every other expert in town says it's possible. So I would like to keep it back on the agenda just so that we can keep the fire, because the community wants an entertainment district somewhere. And what they're doing in part is they're waiting for us to redo the whole code, but the community wants solutions before we do the code. The code may take 3 or 4 years, and we need solutions before then. And I realize that everybody's busy, but we need to create an entertainment district. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of people leave our community. And so,
And see, I just disagree in theory, because entertainment districts can't be created. They're just very organic, and so I don't think that we can say, here, this is where you're gonna be entertained and expect it to work. So I just, in theory, don't believe in this particular item.
So we have a motion to continue this to May 16th. If anything comes up, it can always be taken off the agenda. So we have a motion from Councilmember Carlson for 97, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so, Hurtak and Henderson were no.
Motion carried with Hurtak and Henderson voting no. Oh, and Vieira being absent at vote.
All right, item number 98, this is pending cemetery issues. That's a yes from me. Anybody else? All right, so we'll keep 98 on the, we'll have staff in person. Item number 99, yes. Item number 100, we have a memo from Mr. Martin Shelby. Is that sufficient? Or do we need, well, you're here, so we can take it up then.
oh yeah, I have a motion I want to make then, but
Okay, so we'll leave 100 there. Mr. Shelby, you will be here. And then for item 101, it's discussing the tentative calendar. There was a memo from Councilman Vieira. He's not here, so let's just say yes on that, and then we'll figure it out. All right, we went through that. We're going to break for lunch at 12 o'clock. We have a busy agenda. The timer will be on. And that's it. At this time, I have a motion to approve the agenda and the addendum. We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Aye. At this time, I yield to Councilmember Miranda, who would be presenting a commendation for item number 2.
Honorable Chair of Tampa City Council and honorable members of Tampa City Council, today is the day that some of us look forward to and some of us don't. We have a gentleman here to my left who's been serving the city of Tampa for 35 years, and let me say very honorably. Mr. Joel Sousa has had the opportunity to work with many different individuals, including the mayors like Sandy Freeman, Dick Greco, Pam Maorio, Bob Buckhorn, and Jane Castor. And that was hard enough. However, what's more important is that he's worked in a division that for decades has led the city in the right direction. 35 years of dedicated service to the city. He's had a positive impact on the lives of so many citizens of the city of Tampa as an urban planner. If you think city council is tough, try being an urban planner, where everyone that comes before you on an application always thinks that they have the best, and they should because they're representing someone. This gentleman and his staff are the ones that make the decision, either looks good or doesn't look too good. And then it's up to us to determine, the elected officials at that time in history, what should be and what should not be. But he's an individual that always comes here, and demeanor-wise, you don't ever see him get upset. He makes his presentation, and he takes his lumps and leaves. And when you work for, I don't know how many council members, 43 I think it was, at least, in your career, that's 33 different personalities who also never think that they're wrong, including myself. Yes, and you have worked with 26 supervisors, and you have taught many the trade of being straightforward, not losing your cool, and in today's society, that's one of the most difficult things we have. You speak to people eye to eye, you don't get upset, you just tell them what your plan is and your recommendation to the city council, and from there it goes. So we're sorry to see you leave after 35 years. You've taken with you so much institutional knowledge and so much things have happened in 35 years. The city's certainly what it is today, not. There was not too many tall buildings. It was more than likely less than about 60 to 80 to 100,000 people less. The roads you can drive and never hit a speed bump. You could drive from A to B and not find much traffic.
There was no channel side.
There was no channel side, there was no Harbour Island, just about. There wasn't too many things that you have now. And an individual like yourself is one that made some of those decisions what they are today, with a recommendation from whoever was in office and whoever the mayor was. But just for myself, I want to say thank you on behalf of this council for the way you stand in front of this podium and take your lumps, whether they're for, or more importantly, whether they're not for.
Yes, sir.
And you've always done it in the most upgraded mannerism of any human being I've ever seen. And for that, I want to tell you thank you for being who you are, a stand-up individual who says it like it is and walks out. No matter what happens, you're not upset about one way or the other. That takes a special kind of human being. So we want to thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie.
So, it's a commendation, and I'll read it one time real quick.
Yes, sir.
It's the 35 years dedication of the city of Tampa for a positive impact in the lives of so many citizens in the city of Tampa. As an urban planner over the decades of 3 decades, you have done the job thoroughly through the inquiry of local government. Your knowledge and professionalism will be missed. And again, thank you very much for who you are and the way you handled yourself.
God bless you, Charlie.
The floor is yours.
Mine? I'd like to read a few sentences I wrote down for this, and thanks very much for this accommodation this morning. Let me see. Okay. As my current zoning family and staff would agree and attest, I'm generally a meek and mild, soft-spoken, humble individual and a warm personality in the early mornings of the office. A real Renaissance planner. I've done so similarly in almost all of the housing and development coordination divisions that I've worked in, because I worked in every one except one over my career. Over my 35-year history, I've had, again, 26 supervisors and a plethora of sub-supervisors, many that I had to train, and what I truly feel is a Purple Heart warranted deed that I did. I believe the people and places and events that I was able to participate in and witness as a mid-level professional planner in the city of Tampa were unmatched to any other similar professional environment, and I survived it. It is with a heavy heart that I now step down and away from my craft and give one of my young, talented staff members an opportunity to do the same thing. And again, I thank you very much for recognizing me today.
Congratulations, sir. We thank you for all your hard work for the many, many years of service, and congratulations. Any other council member wish to say anything? Yes, ma'am?
Good morning. When you got on the elevator this morning, you said today was your last day. And
Yes, ma'am.
so I remember it made me think the first day of school, the last day of school are always very exciting. So I guess that's why you volunteered and told me that information. So I know that you're very happy today. Congratulations, and I wish you well. When you wake up on Monday morning, you get to do as you please.
I sure hope so.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. We're going to go to public comment virtually, but before, Mr. Shelby?
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of City Council. Martin Shelby, the City Council Attorney. Good morning. Members of the public are allowed a reasonable opportunity now at the beginning of today's council meeting to address any item on the agenda before the City Council takes official action on an item. A 3-minute time limit applies to all speakers providing public comment. Speakers and members of the public are also reminded and requested that you refrain from disruptive behavior, including making vulgar or threatening remarks or making or causing disruptive noises or sounds or displaying signs or graphics. Speakers are also reminded to refrain from making personal attacks against any city official, staff member, or fellow members of the public. The chair will rule out of order any person who speaks without being recognized or attempts to address the City Council from outside the speaker area at the podium. Persons failing to comply with the council rules may also be ruled out of order and, at the discretion of the chair, may be removed from the chambers for the remainder of today's meeting. If you're here to speak on an item that's set for a public hearing, which is noted on the agenda, you will have that opportunity when the item is heard later in the agenda. No public comment will be taken today during staff reports. The time to speak about those comments and items on the consent agenda is now during general public comment. And finally, City Council members, you should refrain from engaging the speaker during public comment, and the public should be aware that the City Council does not take questions or have a dialogue with members of the public during general public comment. This is your opportunity to express your position. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shelby. At this time, we have 3 registered public speakers. We'll take them first. Mr. Michael Randolph. If you're online, Michael Randolph, please state your name. You have 3 minutes, sir. Is Mr. Randolph on? Mr. Randolph, sir? Is he muted, or are there issues on our end? All right, we'll go back to him. We'll take Tina Wayman next. She's not on. Adrienne Rodriguez, if she's not on? No? Is Michael Randolph still there? If not, we'll go back to him and start public comment in the room. Mr. Randolph.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Please state your name.
Thank you so much, sir. My name is Michael Randolph, and I'm with the West Tampa CDC. I first want to start out by giving my prayers to those in Baltimore as a result of that bridge crashing down. Tampa understands that because we had a bridge that fall down years ago. Today I want to focus on public safety. Again, I'll be speaking during the general comments and then again during item 61. In terms of public safety, in addition to having a background in economic and community development, I also have a background in terms of public safety. In Baltimore in the 90s, I was tasked with developing a public safety initiative. Back then in Baltimore, violence was off the chain. Back then in Baltimore, we saw the highest numbers of murders and killings since the 60s. The program that I was over resulted in a 10% reduction in violent crime. I'm going to be sending you some information on that. This was a combination of a weed and seed and a hotspot initiative. Back then, I was asked to find a way to bring gangs together. I did this by way of using WAC as an opportunity to get the young people together in order to begin to reduce violence in Baltimore City. Surprisingly enough, I was able to get gangs to come that would normally be against each other, but for the fact that they wanted to be superstars. They agreed to being part of this. We also had an opportunity to bring them before the powers to be, but it never went anywhere. That's going to change with our most recent project. Our most recent project is looking at putting together what's known as the West Tampa Video Production and Entertainment Center that focus on young people talent and monetizing those talents and reducing crime at the same time. This, in fact, is the best practice that we looked at from around the country. I'm sending you 2 news articles related to that. The reason why I'm talking so about this, because every day we pick up the newspaper or turn on TV, we're seeing this senseless killing that's going on out there. We think Tampa has the model to reduce that. And again, I end by saying I send my prayers out to Baltimore for the impact that's going to have on the nation and the city as a whole. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. That's it for registered public speakers. At this time, we'll go to general public comment here in the room. Yes, sir. Please come up and state your name. You'll be the first speaker. Good morning, sir.
Morning. I want to say Huru. Huru means freedom in Swahili. Names meant Tiznat. That means anything's possible. I want to say we as African people, we should always be thinking about our reparations. And we should always talk about reparations and live reparations, because it's 624 years of reparations that's owed to us. And any African coming to this city council taking a begging posture, that's not indicative of the African spirit at all. We have to demand reparations. We have to demand what's rightfully owed to us. We have to demand respect. And we have to gauge it back that where we have dignity as a people, as a group of people, as a collective of people, having the same ambitions to be a free and self-determining people. We can't keep begging white people for what's rightfully ours. We should never, never, ever, ever think that we can live, die, and never think of reparations. Never think of the fact that our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, dating back to 624 years, worked for free. No, they owe us. And they have a certain kind of disrespect for us. It's a disrespect. It's a learned disrespect they have for black skin. When they see black skin, they just see hatred. They stereotype you and see hatred. They don't see you struggling for what they're struggling for. We're not struggling to be free and a self-determining people. White Western civilization has placed a low value on the African, and we see it going on right now in Haiti. A proud country is Haiti that kicked out Napoleon Bonaparte and that whole French colonialism rule. They're still struggling for it right now. Our proud brothers and sisters in Haiti that's fighting for freedom, fighting against colonialism, fighting against imperialism, what they do. White Western civilization do the same thing they do to us. Oh, they gang members. Gang members running down a whole city. It's laughable. It's really laughable. We have to be real about this. We have to get realistic about it. And we as African people, I don't ever want anybody to think that African people aren't a proud people, that African people don't represent anything, that we represent something that's just like a servant, a peonage worker, a slave, a chattel slave, a sharecropper. We didn't come from that. We did not come from that. We demand this city do something to start dealing with the reparations issue, if it's 5, 6, 8, or if it's other things, in dealing with African people from a realistic perspective, not just empty promises. Black people tired of that. We need to start seeing something. We need to start seeing some results. That's what we need to start seeing. And I want to make it clear as a representative of African people, real African people, not beggars. We're demanding something from this city that's tangible, that's something somebody can see, not promises to vote for football teams and fire departments and police departments and other things. We want something we can see. Like the singer say, give them something they can feel.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Next speaker, please state your name. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Steve Michelini. I'm really coming to council to ask you to address a disparity in the code. And the code has conflicts in it between alley usage and technical standards, particularly in the West Tampa overlay. You're forced to make a choice and you can't meet both at the same time. I've discussed this with staff. They're aware of it, and I believe that it might be in order at the end of the meeting under new business for one of the council members to make a motion to ask staff to try to address this issue. If you choose one to meet the technical standards, you can't meet the overlay district standards. If you choose the overlay district, you can't meet the technical standards. And it's not fair to the applicants to have to come to you to seek waivers on one or the other. And then there's a finding of inconsistency when we come before you. The second issue is regarding the notice provisions. We just expanded the notice areas to 300 feet. We have larger signs. We have we have 2 notices going out for the petitions, and yet at the last minute we have neighborhood associations or those indicating that they do represent them come up at the last minute, never having called the petitioner, never having reached out and said, we have an issue, we want to discuss it with you. That's not right. That's not in the spirit of what we exchanged and changed all the codes for. We were told, I mean, both on the applicant and petitioner side and on the homeowner side, that wasn't going to happen anymore, and yet it happens. Certainly, they should be encouraged to reach out with 2 notices, larger signs, and an expanded notice area, to not show up at the last minute and say that they're representing someone who has issues with the problems. We are always willing as applicants to make adjustments if we can, and that line of communication should be open and not closed. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Before we go to the next speaker, can I get a motion to open the 9:30 a.m. public hearings? Motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. There was a request I mentioned earlier, but we had to wait till 9:30 to, by the petitioner for item number 81 to withdraw this application. We have a motion to withdraw 81 from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Hurtak. All in favor? Aye. Item number 81 will not be heard because it has been withdrawn per the request of the attorney. All right, next speaker, please state your name. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Council. I'm Angela Alderman. Again. I am here today about item number 98. My name is Angela Alderman, the great niece of Francisco Martinez, who is lost within College Hill Cemetery. I am once again here regarding scan results. The Italian Club scanned the parking area of the Italian Club Cemetery, which was formerly College Hill. And they also scanned the surrounding adjacent areas to the cemetery in February of 2023. I stand before you today asking for resolution to this issue of ignoring the many requests for the Italian Club to release the results. On Tuesday of this week, once again, the Italian Club has pushed back the date to release the scans, and they will not be here today. They have postponed it now again to May 2nd. Some action needs to be taken and must be done to get answers. It is blatant, in my personal opinion, that the scan over a year ago has produced areas of concern in the results. Otherwise, I am certain I would have been silenced over a year ago. It's very simple. Release the findings to where 1,200 bodies now lay to rest. And if they are not there, provide details of relocation, including that of my great uncle, who was buried in 1917. Maybe this can be done and healing can begin for our city and those that have been erased from history. This month marked 107 years on March 16th that my great uncle was laid to rest in College Hill. I know that in addition to College Hill being on the agenda today, Marty Colon Cemetery has been faced with the same issues. I know that the rabbi has produced scans and possibly will have those scan results today. This just shows how quick scan results can be produced. I ask the city, why would it take 1 year to produce the scan results? The constant ignoring and stalling over a span of a year speaks volumes to my soul. Help is needed from the city, as this is beyond acceptable for me being a direct descendant of someone lost within the now Italian Club Cemetery. Private property or not, the Italian Club has chosen to ignore the many requests for the scan results. I will not falter in my quest for these answers, and it saddens me that the moral and respectful thing to do is being ignored and allowed. These precious souls that were buried there deserve their peace, not to be used as a parking lot. I am first off asking the city to step in and assist where they can on their end, to show the community their support. I would ask the city to show their support for College Hill and bestow the honor of the lost and erased souls of College Hill by not attending or supporting the Italian Club at their events and social gatherings. These souls deserve the respect granted to them. I ask this of you, as they are not merely words spoken.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Next speaker. Good morning, sir. Please state your name. It's already on. Just whatever you want to put down. It's active.
All right. Good morning. My name's Bobby Creighton. I live in Tampa, Florida. The first thing I want to say is I do support the salary increase for you, the work that you do. It's more than a part-time job, and I believe the salary should be commensurate with the duties of the position that you all hold. But I'm here to talk about code enforcement policy today. Last week I came up and reviewed some of my own research into the ways other cities handle vacant, boarded, and abandoned structures. I pointed out some of the deficiencies that exist in Tampa's code and what other cities have done to try to address that. I want to point out that that's just my own research. That's just what I looked at in cities in Florida and peer cities. There's a whole suite of other policies that may or may not be appropriate for Tampa. Every city is unique. Tampa is a very unique city. People recognize that and appreciate that, and that's why they want to come here. So there's not a one-size-fits-all solution to addressing that problem. I've been having some conversations with community members about this, and in fact, just this week, we had our FAN public safety meeting. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit. Top one. Oh, something's happening. And based on my discussions, there's been various themes that have arisen. I wanted to go over those today.
Yeah, there we go.
Awesome. Perfect. Wonderful. All right, wonderful. So there's three big themes that I wanted to address. I'm not going to speak to every one of these because the audience and you can read them on your own. But if we take theme 1 and 2 as premises, and if we're not fully meeting the premise of theme 3, these result in negative outcomes in our most vulnerable communities, and those deserve to be addressed. I'm going to move on to my next point because my time is running out here. On February 22nd, staff gave a report about code enforcement and their policies. They said that they look at other cities to determine what best practices are. I hope they're doing that for this issue and they're preparing to make changes where necessary. Staff also reported that some condemned buildings get extensions of 7, 8 years. There's a building in my own neighborhood that has had an extension for 5 years. A demolition permit was issued 5 years ago. This is inequitable to the taxpayers having to continue to expend resources for these buildings. It's inequitable to the neighborhoods. The litmus test was, we don't want our families. Would you put your mom in a house that's condemned? Well, would you put your family in a house that next door to that? Or would you want your mom to live next door to that for 5 or 10 years? So it's a safety issue, it's an equity issue. There's a lot more to say on this topic, and I'm happy to discuss more offline with anybody who's interested in advancing this issue.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Please come on up and state your name. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Tonette Gaines, and I'm going to speak on item number 13. And these are, this is my Vice President, Rhonda Ellis, Treasurer, Ms. Ann Ellis, and then one of the members, Eureka. And we're here to, good morning. My name is Tonette Gaines, and I'm the president of the Legacy of Fair Oaks Community Association, a newly established association approaching our first 1-year anniversary, April 6th. We utilize Fair Oaks Community Center to host our association meetings. It's evident that Fair Oaks in our community is long overdue for a change. I pondered over how should I decide as a leader regarding the Fair Oaks project. Therefore, after prayer and research, I say move forward. As long as transparency and accountability are well communicated across the board from the mayor, city council, community engagement, zoning and permitting, parks and rec, mobility, Skanska, contractors, Tampa Police Department, or contracted security and any other affiliates on this project, and accommodations are granted. For instance, a paper trail on how each dollar is spent without it impacting other finances allocated for housing rehab or affordable housing to fund this project. Next, since this is a predominantly African-American community, it is only fair equal employment opportunities are extended to African-American contractors who are licensed and bonded with the city of Tampa on this project from start to finish, no exceptions. In conclusion, as the leader, we have remained quiet, and observe from a distance. But now is the time to take a stand. We thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the legacy of Fair Oaks and my family. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, council. I should have been probably part of the legacy. I didn't expect that representation, but I want to hit Fair Oaks Park from a different perspective.
Please state your name, sir.
Lieutenant Colonel Ricardo Kinsey, retired from the United States Army. I'm a product of Tampa, Florida, a proud product of Tampa, Florida. I grew up in Northview Hills, where we established Williams Park. But I played Little League football at Fair Oaks Park. Most of you might know Coach Bobby Wiles. He was significant in that area. And as a product of that, I'm standing before you to tell you the difference that Fair Oaks Park made in my life. My father also coached as a Little League coach when we had the Tampa Eagles there. That park has produced so many successful people here in Tampa, Florida. Your first responders, Carl Davis, Major, retired from Hillsborough County Sheriff Office. Vincent Jackson stays right off there, Caracas, went to high school with me as well, retired as a captain. He played Little League football there. Sam Washington, Pittsburgh Steelers, head coach, North Carolina A&T. That park has brought so many memories to so many of us, and I can go on with other military leaders and, as well as educators who are presidents, principals and vice principals who have made a significant impact at Fair Oaks Park. That's what Fair Oaks Park means. I want our young kids to be able to tell the same story to stand before you to say the difference that it made in our lives, and it has made a difference in my life. 2 weeks ago, a young lady saw my mother at the grocery store and said, Mrs. Kinsey, I want to thank you because when she was a cheerleader, my mother used to sew the uniforms for these cheerleaders because they didn't have anybody else to do it. So, council, I stand before you and I say we need Fair Oaks Park in the East Tampa Recreation Complex because it has made a difference in my life and it has made a difference in so many other people's lives that I know in Tampa, Florida. So thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Next speaker. Good morning.
Good morning, Council. Yvette Lewis, President of the NAACP Hillsborough County Branch. So first of all, I want to say I really wasn't prepared to come to speak because my heart is heavy right about now, but I want to come in the spirit of my mother. My mother is resting in heaven, and she's watching me. And I think, you know, when we laid her to rest, we laid her to rest. I don't understand why African American people continue to come before you to talk about these cemeteries and these companies that want to come and build upon these cemeteries without giving y'all accurate and correct information. We keep fighting for our loved ones that are laid to rest. We need an answer. It is so important that we get relief and we get justice when it comes to these cemeteries. Please understand that. And I'm doing everything in my might because my mother said you need to fight for this. You see, when Indians, their burial grounds are sacred. When it was intruded, America compensated them. They refused to even touch them. We deserve that same respect as well. So please keep that in mind. Now I come to you. I'm a product of Fair Oaks Park, born and raised right there. My dear mother sent us to the park to go play. She trusted us. She trusted that park. That park is ours. It's a shameful, God, that this city is spending all of this money with this park and African Americans are not even having a piece of it when it comes to the dollars. That park is for us. We asked y'all and you complied. You came out to our meetings. Thank you. Thank you to the city for listening after a strong fight. That park is for us, and it should be built by us. A child should be able to ride down the street or go to that park and say, my daddy helped build that park. My mother helped lay the ground piecing of that park. These ladies had legacy on their shirts. Where is our legacy? Please understand, this is so important. If you don't know anything else, please stop telling us what is best for us. These contractors are making millions of dollars off of us, and we're getting nothing.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, good morning. Please state your name.
Good morning, Keela
Good morning.
McCaskill. I'm here today, I need your help as we process this 101-page agenda. But I need your help because there's a common thread in this city as it relates to mysterious activities regarding the money. In this body, in my understanding, it's you that's responsible for overseeing it, make sure the funds are allocated appropriately. I still have a question lingering that's relevant to the agenda today. Who authorized $200,000 to be paid out to the former aide or whatever they were on the Councilman Gould situation? Legal, somebody, one of you, who would take the charge to help us understand the public? Who authorized that? I went to the Ethics Committee. Jane sent me there. Those people said they hadn't had an investigation in 4 years. They didn't know anything about it. It was like, who done it? When, we don't know when it happened, how it happened. You guys didn't authorize it. How did it happen? We don't want another oops on Hannah Street situation. And then you find out 6 months later, oops, it was the administration. I need somebody to be bold enough to stand 10 toes down and say what's right for the community, what happened with that $200,000, who authorized it, because it's our taxpayers' dollars that's being funneled around like monopoly money. I need some answers to that. Number two, Fair Oaks, I repeat what they said, 30% of that is what Skanska said on the day they sat down and was awarded that contract. They were confident in that. And when one of these council members asked them questions regarding that, is it a goal or is they couldn't identify that. The EDO officer here was not able to do that. I believe that the mayor has put some strong opportunities in place for African-American people and minorities and small businesses and all of that. She's put some strong work in place. I don't understand why you all can't receive the information and show the receipts of the efforts that's been put in place to make sure that these minorities can benefit from this contract. And then third, I stood here first, I believe, downstairs asking for a raise so that if, when Councilman Dingfelder was forced to leave, if you got to pay for legal fees and you got to pay for allegations, because that's going to happen. Political acrimony is evident. I know that very well. So you're evident. You're going to pay some legal fees and everything else potentially. I feel like you should be able to have that raise if they're not going to defend you. And so in that vein, I want to say support and pay the man the money. He prevailed. You paid the $200,000 or whatever. You paid the $200,000 with no authorization, no lawsuit, no nothing. At least pay the man back the money that should be paid. He prevailed. I don't think that was expected. He made it. Go ahead and pay the man the money. It could be you one day. Pay the man. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Good morning.
Hello, my name is Janelle Scott. First of all, I don't say y'all, name one of y'all don't deserve no raise. Not name one of y'all deserve a raise, because I done been coming here for years. You know why y'all don't deserve a raise? One time I came here, one of y'all was out of place the whole time. Next time I came here, it was the same council member. I emailed and Facebook a message. And then I come back to research. He's a part of the allegation that I got going on. Well, bus driver shut my arm in the door where he was overseeing the transportation department. No names mentioned, though. No names mentioned. Let's get the definition of a peace treaty with these Indians. A peace treaty is a binding agreement upon peace where it will cause a breach if the two was to breach the peace. Because peace is absent of war. Definition of peace. So I want to understand, what is a lie? We're going to get it like that. What is a lie? What's a liar? What's a fool? Which one do y'all identify as? What is the definition of making amends? Same thing as reparations. If the governor of California can come up with a plan to make reparations, why can't y'all? The #1 economic state in the world can't make a peace treaty for the black people that they know. It ain't no secret they built on black graves. Joe Biden had slaves, and Mitch McConnell had slaves. It's in the history books. Them secrets ain't gone. The slave owners and the slaves are still a part of history. That's still there. That's ancient history. So why is it such a issue We're trying to, listen, I speak on behalf of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. If justice is not met in 2024, he shall intervene.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning. Please state your name.
Yes, my name is Hassan Caldwell. Well, this is my first time here, so basically I was just coming to see like what's going on and how everything is going. I mean, supposed to go and stuff. And basically, I'm here for the community, for the younger youth, for the upcoming youth, because I feel though the people that's already here, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people like to come and be seen and all this type of stuff. But what I want to bring to the table is that basically we have to look at the youth. All this other stuff like people talking about, I think they were just saying something about a park or something like that. That is good, you know what I'm saying? Then the other lady said something about somebody got some money and all this type of stuff supposed to pay, and then to pay this one dude. But what I say for everybody should do is to focus on the children. You know what I'm saying? The next generation is what's going to be in these chairs and what's going to be standing here and everywhere else. But what I see also, what I want to say is, you know what I'm saying? Like, this stuff been going on for a long time, you know? And the only way it's going to be a change if people stop trying to take the glory and give the glory to God. You step to the side and do what you're supposed to do, not what you want to do. Everybody say this and everybody say that, but everybody's trying to talk for what they want, for them. Like the lady say, oh, this man didn't get his money, paying his money. But you know this dude. So this dude here, so once this man get his money, he gonna issue out the people he want. But if you do it for the community and the next generation, you will see where the money going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you gonna fix a park or you gonna talk about the graveyard. All right, so you gonna do with the graveyard, make the graveyard work for the children in the neighborhood when they get out of school, go through and clean the neighborhood. They think. Give them a little card with money on it every week or every month. They get a little money so they can buy clothes, teach them how to take care of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Put them in the places where they're going to be anyway, where you want them to be, because if you don't, it's going to continue to be the same thing. I have a lot of stuff, a lot of visions, whatever you want to call it, but God has got me in a place right now where I'm just sitting still, but everything is going to happen. But I just want to say, all we have to do is just focus on the next generation. Like a lot of this stuff that people be talking about over there, it's not doing anything because everybody's just passing money around and nothing is being done because the kids are being left out. So like I said, my name is Hassan Caldwell. You'll see me more, and we're gonna see what it do.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning, City Council. I come here with smiles and happy. I want to thank the City Council for...
What is your name, ma'am?
Oh, excuse me, I apologize. Verlene Drayton.
Yes, ma'am.
First, I want to go ahead and say we still celebrating Women's History Month. We got 31 days, ladies. We got 31 days. James Brown said it best. This is a man world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman. All right, now we got that part over with. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about this Pharaoh's Park. And I appreciate the ladies and the gentlemen with the Pharaoh's Park legacy. And I am from Pharaoh's Parks, and I'm part of the Over 50 and Fowlers. I want to thank the director, Tony M. I don't want to mess his last name up. The aide came out yesterday, and Janelle, they came out and spoke to us yesterday at Fair Oaks. And we're looking for an approval today from all of you regarding Fair Oaks Park. Now, this morning, ABC Action News gave a shout out to this item 92 and 13. And again, we're looking for an approval for this today sitting council. We're looking for the groundbreaking in 2024. We're looking for the center to schedule in 2025. And we're looking for completion in 2026. So it's time to put the lid on the pot in East Tampa about Fair Oaks. And let's go ahead and get it done. We've been doing this for a while. I've been down here a couple of times behind Fair Oaks. So let's go ahead and make it happen. I want to thank Gwendolyn Harris and our District 5. I want to appreciate you for everything that you're doing. I want to appreciate everybody else back here that's doing what they need to do. Whether it's good, bad, forward, or negative, let's bring all of it together because it's in the pot. And we're going to make a decision today to get this park built for East Tampa. I understand that business name, East Tampa Recreation Complex Center. We understand that. That's the business name. But the real deal, when it's all fine and over, it's going to be, we said it. And we thank you so very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we're looking for an approval.
Yes,
right
ma'am.
All right?
Please silence your cell phones. Please silence your cell phones, even though I'm enjoying the music.
I didn't know I'd be serenaded today. This is fantastic. I need an entrance like this every time, please.
Your walk-on music. Please state your name, ma'am. Good morning.
Eileen Henderson, founder of the Cemetery Society. Good morning, Council. Historic cemeteries. We've been talking a lot about Tampa's historic cemeteries the last few years. Our nation has experienced an interest in discovering and reestablishing lost, abandoned, and forgotten cemeteries with a specific emphasis on historic Black cemeteries. And frankly, I couldn't be happier. Cemeteries provide a looking glass into a city's past. They are necessities. They tell a story. They educate. You see your city in a name on a headstone. They represent a time and people that used to be. Simply put, they are our history, and without our past, we have no future. So what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? We, the community, along with established organizations dedicated to Tampa's historic cemeteries, will keep taking these challenges on one by one with these historic cemeteries as they surface. But I would much prefer a more proactive approach. Not to mention, we are organizing. We currently have an informal coalition made up of 3 organizations that are cemetery-based, other organizations with a vested interest, and community members. We are only going to get bigger and stronger. So please, let's work together on figuring out a plan of action as it relates to Tampa's historic cemeteries, and hopefully we can stop appearing before you begging for those with no voice to be heard and respected. Let's also look to be proactive and figure out a way to make these historic cemeteries self-sustainable through innovative and forward-thinking ideas and concepts. We need a plan for the future. Let's make one and commit to it. Finally, I stand with Angela Alderman and for Cottage Hill. I support her requests, and I demand Council holds the Italian Club accountable to their agreement to share that GPR study and to stop stalling. The truth is, we know there are bodies there. I get it's private property, but we have been down this road before. And honestly, I am extremely disappointed. For the life of me, I can't understand why they just won't do the right thing. We know there are bodies there. You know there are bodies there. They know there are bodies there. Do the right thing. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Good morning. Please state your name.
Good morning, Jay Johnson. I'm down here for Fair Oaks, and I'd like to thank all of you guys, because everyone's voice matters. Everyone has an opinion, everyone has a thought. So thank you for listening to everyone. But it's just, we're at a crossroad again in a place of progress. And the only ones suffering from this crossroad is the kids. And when 2 elephants fight, the only thing get damaged is the grass. So when you have so-called leaders and elected officials bickering and arguing about what's progress look like for our kids, the only one suffers is the ordinary, average person that's dependent upon leadership and advocates to do the right thing for the community. Now, it wasn't such a big outcry in the beginning when we humbled down the Fair Oaks Park and advocated for a new building when others was just talking about remodeling. Now we moved past that stage of remodeling, and thanks to Joe Robinson and others came down and pointed out that we needed a new building. Now we got so many people on board, agitators instead of advocates for the park. One thing was about bird poop, it was about this and stuff. We're here to rebuild Fair Oaks Park, not East Tampa Recreational Center. Fair Oaks Park, that's what it's supposed to be rebuilt as, Fair Oaks Park. I stand here as a kid, played football at Fair Oaks Park, and I stand here as a father that has kids play for the Rattlers over at Fair Oaks Park and to win national championships in their league. So when we go to think about the progress of moving forward with Fair Oaks and having the thought and sit down about our kids, haven't they suffered enough? What is the holdup? We now talking about a building, another building for seniors. That's what's missing out of our community, the leadership from the elders
When we separated and broke up the homes and Big Mama passed away, that's why our kids are where they at. So we need that leadership. So why not have them all in the same building so these same kids can learn from the elders that's there? They have their space. They have a state-of-the-art facility. So the kids can actually learn, and what kids do, they imitate adults. Nothing gets solved in chaos. That's why so much bickering in our community. Here we are again, stagnated in East Tampa with progress. And the only people that's being hurt is the kids. Keep that in mind. Instead of people out for personal gains and reputation, our kids are suffering without state-of-the-art facilities to go out to school and be productive citizens in our community. So when you sit down to take this vote, think bigger than yourself, think bigger than the agitators, think about the most precious thing while we're all here, and that's the kids. They need a place. And it's tired of being waiting. It's overdue. Build Fair Oaks now. Build it bike as Fair Oaks, not East Tampa Recreational Center. Thank you.
Very much, sir. Yes, sir. Next speaker. Please state your name. Good morning.
Good morning, council members. My name is Jacob Brunel. I'm the Director of Government Affairs for Greater Tampa Realtors. I'm here this morning on behalf of our 17,000 plus members as well as homeowners citywide. We would like to request an amendment to a Muni Code section 27-283.6, method of providing required parking and loading to remedy a developer loophole. This is citywide and will affect homeowners and tenants alike. I'll keep this as brief as possible, and I'll turn it over to my colleague and a member of our association, Mr. Andy Scaglione.
Good morning. Andy Joe Scaglione, Chairman of Government Affairs. I have a couple recommendations, what is a well-known loophole in the development business, and that currently the city is approving, and that's where we need to close this up. The first one is to contain no early termination clause. When you have a 5-year agreement or whatever it is, a 10-year, that there's no termination clause, because at that point, if you have a 60-day termination clause, which you have is a 60-day lease, okay? You don't have a 5-year. The other recommendation is that we record that it's mandatory that the landlord and the leasee have to record the lease, and this way it becomes part of the chain of title by doing that. And this way you don't have the games being played of having an addendum that y'all don't see that has an early termination clause, okay? As I've said many times, y'all have heard me, quality development versus quantity development. And we need to support and promote quality development because in the city that we love versus having quantity development on the backs of neighborhoods. And this is clearly on the backs of neighborhoods of what's going on now. When you don't have parking for your business or your development, guess where they're parking? They're parking down the streets of neighborhoods, and that's just not right to neighborhoods. So thank you very much for your consideration of this.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Would you like to speak?
Yes.
Come on up. Good morning, ma'am. Please state your name.
Eureka Walker. There was a burning in my heart, and I could not leave here without stating, making this comment. Basically, I listened to everyone, but the gentleman prior to me, I'm going to just touch real quick. It's going to be short and simple. Put the glass back on, sorry. Community. The definition of a community is a group of people living in the same place, having common interests or goals. So with that being said, also team. That acronym is together, everyone achieves more. Okay, and then now I want to touch on what is a community? My definition or my perception of a community is that widow woman, that retiree, that mother and husband, or that single parent, or that grandmother who's re-raising that grandchild, such as I. I'm a homeowner. I got further education. I can recall how I used to take my mortgage money and pay for one class per semester for community college. And it took me 5 years, but I got it. I've taken everything that you can take for a bachelor's. So the community is a group of people with different circumstances. It's called life. And as that gentleman was saying about the kids, but it's not all about the kids, it's everyone as a total, because then that would be, sort of biased. It's everyone would gain. What about that person that just retired? That can give them something to do, some arts and craft. I'm gonna make it short. And so what about the children? I wanna tie on that. What about the summer programs? They're in the school. If the building is there, they will have something to do, and that can prevent and decrease crime rates, being busy. The building would be used for many different reasons. Without it, it's not a good thing because we see it. It's an opportunity. It gives that person a chance to do something. You can hold classes. I'm not going to really get too personal, but you can have business classes, cooking class, culinary. There's much to be offered if the building was there. But that's basically what I wanted to say. That community is a group of people with a common interest. And without it, we don't have the access to do that. And that's all I wanted to say.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. All right, next speaker. Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Mr. Chair and Council, Joseph Citro for the record, 33611. 4 years ago, 2 council members and myself went to Fair Oaks, and we saw the terrible conditions in which that park and recreation center were in. 4 years ago. And Fair Oaks still has not been changed and improved for the community. Last time I was here, I said carpe diem, seize the moment. It's up to you to make sure that minority construction, minority business will help create this park that has been discussed for the last 4 long years. It took time to get property rights, to buy property. Each moment that's wasted building this will just cost more to build. I'm saying it again, carpe diem. Today is the day. The longer we wait, the more the community suffers. Let's build Fair Oaks. I'm asking you, after 4 long years, approve this. Let's move forward. Thank you, council members.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Please state your name.
Good morning. I'm Susan Virginia Davis, and I'm all for Fair Oaks and minority construction and apprentice jobs to go out to the young people and middle-aged people too. I'm retired, so I'm too old to work, but I'm for Fair Oaks. And I think fairness is fairness. People should really be taken care of as far as provided jobs and apprenticeship training. I missed the boat when I wanted in skilled trades, but you really need to put kids and minorities into skilled trades and get more for the community. As far as the cemetery, I never had to beg for people to leave my mother and father's graves alone. And that's a shame that the cemetery is being abused or overlooked here. So we really need to look at that issue too. You really need to take care of everybody's past parents and grandparents, and please look at that too. But another thing, I never got over a 3% raise, and most years under many governors, I got 0% raise. So I'm not in favor of a 40% raise for anybody. I never got above 3% even when I worked for the UAW, not directly for them, but in a corporation that was controlling the UAW a lot. So 3% was the maximum I've ever gotten. I never got it as a teacher in this whole Hillsborough County. So 3% is a reasonable request. But I pray that you will help out the community here and give the minority construction workers a chance to earn a fair living and a fair equality kind of treatment. So I thank you for your time, and it's good to see all of you.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you very much. All right, Ms. Pointer, is there anybody else that wishes to speak? If you are going to speak, please line up so we know. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Council. Stephanie Pointer. I'm gonna get those, one for everybody. Lots of important stuff on the agenda today. The land use contract is on there, whether we were gonna change the code. Rome Yard, the East Tampa Rec Center, $100 million worth. The scope creep of the spending. What I find absolutely amazing is if the administration wants something, by God, the money just comes flying off the shelf. But yet, City Council wanted the NAACP to have money, and they can't find it to give it to them. Councilman Goods, hold on. There was an investigation done. 4 years, nothing came before the Ethics Commission. Who ordered the investigation? Why was $250,000 of our city funds spent and nobody fesses up to who started the investigation? You know, you do your thing, I'll do mine, but the bottom line is nobody is responsible, not the plaintiff or the defendant, but somebody in this city stirred that pot, and nobody wants to fess up to who pulled the trigger on it. Okay, let's talk about you guys' salary. You know, I come up here every time and I say different stuff, but bottom line is 2 years ago, I gave you a spreadsheet that looks a lot like this, and nobody back here can see the numbers. I'll be happy to share them if you want to see them. But that's 2 years old. The average salary of our highest paid city staff has went up $20,000 in the last 2 years. That's not bottom of the barrel, but you have to remember TPD and fire, they got an 18% raise, but you guys are still sitting at 3%. Sorry, not sorry. Yes, you all signed up to get paid what you get paid. But we're not talking about you as individual people. We're talking about those seats that you sit in. And not only should this be taken care of today, but it needs to be taken care of for future councils so that it's not something that's political. That you guys are paid in scale with what everybody else has gotten paid. The mayor's office alone went up $21,000 in those 2 years. You guys' salary went up $2,000 in those 2 years. So when you're thinking about this, this really isn't, because I want this council to look like this room. It shouldn't all be folks who can pay their bills without getting paid worth a squat. It should be people who can pay their mortgage or pay their rent while they're sitting on council, and we need to be respectful of that. It needs to be codified.
Thank you very much,
It needs to be
ma'am.
taken care of.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Good morning, council, staff, and audience. My name is Bryce Bowden, excuse me, and I have the honor of being the vice president for the Saturday Morning Breakfast Group. I am not a native of Tampa or Florida, so I had to do some research on Fair Oaks. And what I found about Fair Oaks, it says Fair Oaks in Tampa, Florida is a delightful green space where residents and visitors can enjoy outdoor activities. Although, and this was, well, I'll just skip that. It talks about I recommend the different amenities like walking trails, playgrounds, picnic areas, perfect place to spend time with your family and friends. So that was a web definition. And then I would go a little bit further talking about the project in Fair Oaks, and where the city of Tampa combined the current Fair Oaks Community Center with Herbert B. Carrington Senior Community Lake and several recently acquired adjacent properties to create a 10.2 East Tampa Recreation Complex. And basically, the goal is to expand the services and activities at the current Fair Oaks Community Center by adding a dedicated space for active older adults, residents. Additional recreation activities such as dancing and improvements, including a full-size gym, on and on and on and on. Okay, that's basically what I found on the internet. And what I found as well, and that's good. And then I noticed that stated things about the name change. Now, the name change, what I found was the negative part of this whole project, okay? Because what it does, it changes the history, it changes the complexion of this. This was what I envisioned, this being the crown jewel of a black community. Now, with the name change, it also changes the thought process of people, of the elders being able to tell stories of when and we've heard it earlier about when I was this, I played football. These are things I did in Fair Oaks. Also, it changes the thing as a landmark. A landmark, you're saying Fair Oaks. Now, if you call it East Tampa Community Center, people go, well, where? Well, I want to meet you on 34th and Wilder, and we're having a place here. They go, okay, but it used to be say, I'll meet you on Fair Oaks at this location. So changing the name changes a lot of things, not only history, but also in the present. So I want to thank you for your time, and I implore you to not change the name of Fair Oaks Park. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Ransom?
Yes.
Please state your name, and we'll give you the 3 minutes. Go
Thank you. My name is James Ransom. I'm on the board of directors of TOBA. I'm joined by some of our TOBA Leadership Institute graduates, our current students in our program, so they can understand about governance and the policy side and legislative part of the government in Tampa. The reason that we're here is not to stop the construction project at Fair Oaks, but to have council to not approve a contract without going back to have the city staff sharpen their pencils to find out how to match what happened at Hannah Avenue with the direct spin with black-owned companies. So some folks talked about making sure that black-owned companies, among other MBEs, were going to be given an opportunity to do some work at Fair Oaks, and that's that was a really transformative thing at Hannah Avenue. You know, and City Council takes credit for approving a previous MBE goal of maybe 35 or 36% at Hannah Avenue, except there was no plan to achieve the goal until we kind of worked through that process. And along with the mayor and administration and DPR, they were able to accomplish that, and they exceeded the goal, I think, of 20% in direct spend with black-owned companies. It's not a great distance from Fair Oaks to Hannah Avenue, yet staff reported at this podium that the next goal is 30% and the direct spend is 10% with black-owned companies. We don't think that's a good number, and we think we can find the same companies that are black-owned companies that helped to build a $108 million project to be able to come back to Fair Oaks and still build with the same bricks and mortar, the same drywall, the same flooring, the same electrical, the same plumbing, the same things you use to build a building. They can do it at Hannah Avenue. They can do the same thing at Fair Oaks. So we asked the mayor, we met with the mayor, we talked to the mayor about this. She's met with her staff. She's working on that with her staff. We don't think you should approve a contract until you get this straightened out. We're going to meet with Skanska on April the 8th to begin talking to them about they need to do the same thing on their side, to look for trades, to look for super subs or something to get those numbers up. So if you approve a contract with those particular numbers, you're going in the wrong direction. We'd like to stay at the level that you were at Hannah Avenue or above. So our ask is for you not to approve this contract until they fix those numbers and increase the direct spend with black-owned companies.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. This then concludes public comment. Wait, are you going to speak, sir? Well, go ahead, sir. Please state your name.
Joe Robinson, lifelong resident of West Tampa in the Scaglione House, businessman in West Tampa, community activist, lifelong resident in West Tampa, professional engineer, vice chairman of the West Tampa Community Development Corporation, chair of the West Tampa CRA Community Advisory Committee, and a member of the Tampa Sports Authority. I'm here to speak on item 62, but I will make a note on Fair Oaks. Please, I don't need to be investigating public corruption. Let me move on. I'm here to speak for the project called Rome Yard in West Tampa. Rome Yard is a project that will have approximately 954 residential units, with at least 647 affordable units to go with all of the affordable housing we build in the West River and the West Side. 29,844 square feet of commercial retail space. 3,761 square feet of workforce training center. And 19,744 square feet of West Tampa Culture Center and Arts Museum, and certain non-physical community benefits, because we do have the first and the only community benefit agreement in the history of Tampa that was executed by this developer in the city. This request that they're asking today is a phasing change and timing plan to be amended. Because when we started out, there were certain things that were clear, and staff need to clarify what is clear. So this plan amendment clearly cleans that up, shows the phasing in detail, provides notes showing what buildings are gonna go first, what buildings are gonna be last, where is it located, and how it will be done. Staff has agreed with this. I believe the city attorney, Maurice Massey, has agreed with this. And I'm here to say that the community in West Tampa wants this project to move forward. We don't want to be stalled like Fair Oaks is going to get stalled. So I'm telling you now, we're asking that this move forward. We're asking that this amendment and phasing move forward, but I don't want to be back here investigating Fair Oaks. And that's all I'm going to say today. I'll be back up possibly during the public hearing if asked so by the developer. Thank you for your time.
There's no public hearing, sir. This is the time to speak about it.
No, there's enough. Go ahead, I'll let you go.
All right. Yeah, yes, ma'am?
Good morning, Connie Burton. Full agenda. I want to speak to item number 91, 92, 95, and 98. 98, the history of our people, the cemetery speaks for itself, should be lifted in dignity. That we shouldn't have to continue to revisit these issues where our loved ones were laid to rest simply because developers and others have other ideas. It should be qualified that cemeteries, landmarks are to be respected. Number 95, as it relates to criminal history screening for bidders. I'm concerned that, like most people that travel from one country to another country looking for employment and second chances, I don't know what those people's backgrounds are. But what I do know is that those people came looking for a better way of life, right? A second chance. Some way this city has to move forward in saying that people that have paid their debt to society, they should be able to move forward. We believe that this city can do that through apprentice programs or bonding or whatever, so we can help our young people to participate in tradesmen-like construction. 91, they say rising tides lift all boats. Inside of our community in East Tampa, the minimum wage continue to be low based on the fact that we don't have enough investments in our community. And so as you see yourself, see our community. 92, it's a company, I'm gonna spell out the names because I might have it wrong. SKANSKA. All across the country, wherever they go and do some work, you know what they end up with? Discrimination suit. Racial discrimination complaints. Why? For failure to hire minorities, for failure to follow through on their contracts with minorities, for their failure to promote. So when we see companies coming inside of our community and a small standard of what will benefit the very community that has been demanding change, if we're getting 10%, 20%, and they are walking away with the big bag, what do that do for our community? The way you're working with this company, SKA, that has had a lot of racial discrimination complaints, all the way to the U.S. Department of Equal Opportunity Employment Commission. We want to see a change in way black subcontractors, contractors, supervisors tote the biggest bag out of this project, and that they do not end up with all of the benefits.
Thank you very much. If there are no other public comment speakers, the gentleman in the blue sport coat will be the last person. This is last call. Yes, ma'am. Bishop Patty. All right. Ms. Copeland Miller, and we have one more. All right, ma'am. Go ahead. Please state your name. Good morning.
My name is Tarnisha Clyde. Good morning, council members. I am a proud Tampanian, born and raised, grew up on 36th and Henry, right in East Tampa. I want to just talk to you all about a little bit about Rome Yard and how our company, Ducon Construction, is actually going to be on that project, and how very proud we are at this moment. Not only that, we also served in that same place, the GC on Hannah Ave, where we were able to perform over 50% in WMBE numbers. And more overly for myself, as I mentioned, I grew up right off of Hannah, 36th and Henry, and to see the transformation and the progress that we were able to bring is so befitting for me. And so I just really want you to understand how it's going to translate over to Rome Yard, as well as West River, where we've had the opportunity to do the same in those numbers. Section 3, we go out and we are always at the helm of making sure those residents are afforded an opportunity to serve and to work, and then put the money back into the ecosystem right in the area. So again, I want you to understand that we're going to be here. We're not going anywhere. We're here, Tampanians, and we look forward to serving the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Yes, sir. Good morning. Please state your name.
Ernest Dubose. I am the CEO of Ducon LLC and Ducon Plumbing LLC. Both Ducon, a commercial construction company based here in Tampa and Ybor City. Ducon Plumbing, a commercial plumbing company, also based in Ybor City. Here to speak on behalf of the Rome Yard project. From a minority contracting perspective, when the time we were awarded this project with Related Group, it was the first time that we were given the opportunity as a prime contractor to be at the table. We typically have to come under other general contractors, larger national firms, like the ones that was previously mentioned by the lady. But Related Group gave us an opportunity a few years ago when we presented and were awarded this project to be a prime general contractor on this project. And that was the first time we were afforded, as an African-American owned general contracting firm, afforded that opportunity. So I'd like to state that first. Secondly, we have been pleasantly awaiting this project. We've had it on our books. It means a lot to us as a local general contractor. It is one of the largest projects we have in our backlog to participate on, and it's a great project. As you all know, we've committed a great community benefits program, and we as the general contractor would like to bring our history, our expertise to the Rome Yard project. We're just completing the Hannah Ave project, where our firm Construction managed $15 million of the new Tampa City Center. On that project, we achieved 58% minority WMBE contracting. Of that 58%, of the total project, 52% of the subcontracts on that $15 million were awarded to African-American owned subcontracting businesses. Not small pieces, concrete, all the concrete on the scope, the AC, the electrical, African-American owned, Tampa-based subcontractors. The Skill Center project, which we're wrapping up, many of you are familiar with. We're actually a partner on that project, where again, we've achieved over 30% WMBE on that project that's wrapping up now. So I say that to state that it's a passion, and we are anxiously awaiting the Rome Yard project, not only for what we can do during construction for the community, but also what that project means post-construction with the community benefits that we have planned in that project. So I thank you for your time, and we ask that this project would move forward for the benefit of Greater Tampa Bay.
Thank you very much, sir. Ms. Copeland Miller, good morning. Please state your name.
Good morning. My name is Noreen Copeland Miller, and I am a member of the East Tampa CRA-CAC Advisory Council Committee. First of all, I want to say thank you all for your service. We really appreciate it. And as I'm sitting here listening to people talk about the cemeteries, I am so grateful for your support at Memorial Park Cemetery and the other things that you're doing. And maybe I missed something because some of the folks that came up and were talking about cemeteries that look like me, the last time I came up, I was standing here along with folks that don't look like me that were very supportive. And we appreciate your service. The other thing, I'm here also to talk about Fair Oaks. And I know that you all are going to do the right thing. I know that Fair Oaks is a part of history. And as we look at cemeteries, we know that that history gets erased the minute we change those names to something that is not relevant to the community. And I ask that you please move forward with Fair Oaks. For years, there have been meetings. For years, we got the same old thing, but Fair Oaks deserve to be rebuilt. And frankly speaking, I got more years behind me than I do in the front of me. And I want to be able to walk in that building and enjoy those amenities. I am a long time resident in East Tampa over 30 years. I pay my taxes, and I want to be able to enjoy some of those amenities that other communities have. Please move forward with Fair Oaks. Please build it. You've had so much money spent on meetings. You fed the community. You showed all kinds of moving forward. And as they often say, the group show up after everybody left the barn. And today I see a lot of people showing up in the barn. The work has already been done. Please, I employ and I beg you guys to move forward in favor and build Fair Oaks. Now, last thing I have to talk about is I was looking about hearing the salaries, and I've come here a lot of times in the chamber. I see some people behaviors that is very inappropriate, and I know that it was never happening before, so I'm wondering what's going on. But as I hear folks coming up about this salary increase, being a government employee when I was working, 3%, you were good to get that. But some of the outrageous things that saying what the salary is, and you guys do a great job. I appreciate your support. You're here to serve the community. So if people are coming up displaying erratic behavior and being offensive to people in the community, then they come up and ask for a salary increase from you guys. I have to wonder, where's this coming from? Are they being encouraged thinking they can push that and have favor in the chamber? Because some of them do have favor in the chamber. Continue to serve us and do the right thing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Bishop Patty, you will be the last speaker. All right, last call. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning,
My name
ma'am.
is Deborah Sims Hart. First, I'd like to give honor to God, my family, and my husband, James Hart. Good morning, council persons and audience. I'm here to represent Cut Up's Lawn Service as the only Black-owned woman landscaper in the city of Tampa. Cut Up's opened its doors February 20th, 2002 by my now deceased husband, James Hart Jr. We are now in our 22nd year as a small but growing business. I come to you as a graduate of the Skanska Mentor Protege Program, who has collaborated with the University of South Florida's Office of Supply Diversity, directed by Ms. Terry Daniel. In 2023, I was one of the graduates who took the opportunity to learn every area and receive all the resources that I was offered, and they delivered. Thank you, Tracy, Nader, and Chuck, who freely took me under their wings and let me fly with no reservations. I worked hard to get here. I applied for the city of Tampa. I applied for Hillsborough County government as well as the state of Florida. I also did the same things for Skanska pre-qualification profile. I put in the paperwork. They asked me questions. They sent me paperwork items back to review to review, to resend, to update. This was a long and challenging process, but it was well worth it. This small but growing company has been approved with Skanska, and hear me now, with the Fair Oaks project. I won the bid for landscaping. For irrigation, landscaping, and trees. We are the ground people after site work. I live and I operate Cut Up's Lawn Service in the East Tampa community. As a matter of fact, I live down the street from Fair Oaks Park. I know I am, as well as the people in the community, are waiting to enjoy a nationally recognized park that will be used as a model for other parks, recreation centers in other cities and the state of Florida, which will financially benefit both the city of Tampa and the state. Fair Oaks Park is just the beginning for Cut Up's Lawn Service in Skanska. Before reviewing the bidding on this project, I brought in 2 young black men who are as eager to assist me in working with Cut Up's Lawn Service. Deshaun Walker, who was project manager for trees, Joshua Bynum, project manager for irrigation, Jim Patantis, estimating and billing. Finally, I would like to thank my all minority black employees who has been given a chance at a livable wage and are now able to take care of themselves and their families.
Thank you very much,
These are the
ma'am.
men and women of Fair Oaks Park today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. All right. Our last speaker. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name.
Good morning. My name is Bishop Michelle B. Patty. I am the pastor of Trinity and Faith Ministry. 90% of my parishioners live in East Tampa. 4 years ago, when I came and stood before this podium along with Mr. Jay Johnson, the distractors, nobody was here. I was told no, that Fair Oaks could not be done. There was no money. I met with many of you all. I met with the mayor. I constantly came down here. No one in this room supported or came and fought for Fair Oaks but myself. Now that Fair Oaks is ready to be built, now we have distractors that is coming trying to stop this project. If you don't sign the contract, you have killed Fair Oaks. It would be dead on arrival because every day things are going up. We're talking about bonding. There are many projects that are being bonded right now here in the city of Tampa. The bonding is not so big that the city can't handle this for Fair Oaks. What's the problem is nobody wants this project with the amount of money to be put in the black community. Let's be fair about this because this project can be paid off early. This project can be refinanced. It can be done. But because people on the other side of town, they have used a few people look like me to hold up this contract. As you just heard, this black female says she's getting work for Skanska. Let's talk about the black female who was given a contract to kick this thing off, bringing the community together, bringing contractors together. Kim Jackson, African-American female. There are others that are benefiting from this project that will continue to benefit. Nobody's talking about Skanska brought it in under the cost. You all now have put out in the media that it's going to be X amount of dollars. That's what you all keep bumping it up. But the bottom line is that Fair Oaks is going to be the envy of this nation, but it is not good enough for the people at the East Tampa area. That's what is taking place here. Secondly, I want to talk real quick about the monies. You're talking about giving $45,000 to Goose. The gentleman who was not exonerated, the gentleman who said and confessed that he said derogatory, nasty sexual comment to a 13-year-old child. So tell me how, and the voters, how this equate to him, this being in the scope of his job as an elected official, talking to a 13-year-old child about her breasts. So how dare you, since we're talking about transparency, we're talking about giving away money, why would you give this person $45,000 when they talk to the child like that? Why? Because it's not your child.
Thank you very much. All right, that concludes public comment. At this time, we'll go to committee reports, consent agenda. Councilmember Miranda, you have public safety, sir, 4 through 12.
All right, second. Move items 4 through 12, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Henderson.
Mr. Chair, could I just make one quick statement?
Yes.
Just on item 15, sorry, on item 10, we just approved Versa term. There's a concern among the police officers that there's a second software package that they have to fill out. It's called Street Smart, and they feel like it's duplicative. That was approved some time ago, but I just want to put a placeholder out there that we should cancel that contract. There's also questions about conflicts of interest within the administration, and so we need to watch that. That has nothing to do with VersaStream, except that VersaStream also does what Street Smart does. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And on that note also, I need to recuse myself on number 15. I think it's important to make sure that we publicly disclose. And I'm also going to, could I please make a motion to put receive and file a conflict form?
We have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye.
And just so I can state publicly, my firm does business with a company that is related to this. My company doesn't do anything related to the city of Tampa, and we don't work with any clients on issues related to the city of Tampa, but in an abundance of caution, I'm going to recuse myself from that one. Could we vote on the others and then vote on that one?
That's fine. Councilmember Henderson, would you mind voting 13 through 20 with the exception of 15?
Thank you, Chair. I move items 13, 14, 16 through 20 for Parks, Recreation, and Culture Committee.
We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson. Do we have a second? Second. Second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye.
Okay.
All right, we'll just wait for the gentleman to step out. Well, there he goes. Councilmember Henderson, would you mind moving 15?
Thank you. For Parks, Recreation, and Culture Committee, I move item number 15.
We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson for item 15, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. And please read the vote, acknowledging the recusal.
Yes, motion carried unanimously with Carlson abstaining and Vieira absent.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Councilmember Hurtak, 21 through
Yes.
37.
I move items 21 through 37.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. All right, next up, we have Councilmember Miranda, 38 through 42. We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda with the second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, Councilmember Carlson, you're up. With the exception of, let's see, 58, 59, and then 62 we're going to take after 91. So everything except 58, 59, and 62. We have a motion from Councilmember Carlson to move items 43 through 57, 60, 61, and then 63 and 64. We have a second from Councilmember Henderson. Yes. All in favor? Aye. All right, so we'll take care of that later.
And Mr. Chair, I need to recuse myself from number 67 also, same thing. My firm doesn't work with anyone that doesn't work on any business related to the city of Tampa, but in abundance of caution, I'm going to recuse myself and submit Form F8B.
All right,
receive and file, please.
We have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak to receive and file. Motion from Councilmember Carlson, second from Councilmember Hurtak. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I move items.
No.
I move items 65 through 66 and 68 through 75.
We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. Yes, ma'am?
I just wanted to make a motion, mention that there are 4 segments of the Green Artery that are being approved in this, that FDOT is paying for. So very exciting, and I know the community is excited about this, so.
Good stuff.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, Councilmember Carlson will be abstaining from 67. Councilman Clendenin.
Move item 67.
We have a motion from Councilmember 67, Councilmember Clendenin for 67, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Should we read it? Just read it.
What? Oh, go ahead.
Motion carried unanimously with Carlson abstaining and Vieira absent.
All right, Councilmember Miranda, would you mind setting the 76 through 78?
Item number 77 for April the 11th at 5:01 and May 2nd at 10:30 a.m. in the Council chambers at 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, Tampa, Florida. Move item number 78 for April the 18th at 10 a.m. And third floor, City Council, 315 East Kennedy Boulevard. Move item.
All right, and that's gonna be for 10:30 on that last one.
10:30, yes.
Yep. All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. I asked earlier about opening the public hearings, but just to be safe, can I get a motion to open all public hearings?
So move.
Councilmember Clendenin with the motion to open the public hearing, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the public hearings are open. The 79 and 78 are non-quasi judicial, so we don't have to swear anybody in yet. Yes, ma'am, go ahead. For 79.
Good morning, Dana Crosby Collier with the City Attorney's Office. You have before you item 79. It's second reading of an ordinance correcting a Scrivener's error to the East Tampa Overlay District standards. This ordinance was approved on first reading on March 7th.
All right, any questions or comments from council? This is a Scrivener's error. I'll ask if there's any public comment on item 79.
Motion
I don't see
closed.
anybody. We have a motion to close from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Councilmember Henderson, would you mind reading 79?
I move file number E2023-8, Chapter 7, an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance of the City of Tampa, Florida, amending ordinance number 2023-88, passed and ordained by the City Council of the City of Tampa on July 13, 2023, by correcting a Scrivener's error in the body of the ordinance and in the text, amending Section 27-24E1F.3, East Tampa Overlay District Design Standards, providing for repeal of all ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Miranda. Please record your vote. And if we could activate the touchpad here.
Roll call.
If not, we can do a roll call if you have an issue. No? Let's do a roll call vote on this.
Carlson? Hurtek? Clendenin?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
Vieira is absent. Miranda?
Yes.
Maniscalco?
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously with Vieira absent and Hurtek absent at vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 80, this is for Marjorie Park Marina. Yes, ma'am, good morning.
Good morning, Kamaria Pettisnaco from the Legal Department. Item number 80 is second reading for the ordinance related to the Marjorie Park Marina Gatehouse. City staff made a presentation at the original hearing on March 7th, 2024, and we just asked for your approval.
Any questions or comments from council members? I see no one. Do we have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 80?
Move to close.
We have a motion to close from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Clendenin, would you mind reading item number 80?
I move file number HPC 2302C, an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance of the City of Tampa, Florida, designating Marjorie Park Marina Gatehouse located at 115 Columbia Drive, Tampa, Florida, as more particularly described in Section 3 hereof as a local historic landmark.
Second.
Provided for a repeal of all ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. Let's do roll call vote. No, it's not flashing here, so.
It did for a moment when you first came back.
Hurtek?
Yes.
Clendenin?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
Vieira? Miranda?
Yes.
Carlson? Maniscalco?
Yes?
Motion carried unanimously with Vieira absent.
Thank you very much. At this time, we go into our quasi-judicial public hearings. If you are going to be speaking on items 82 through, I'll just say 89, that one's going to be rescheduled, but from 82 to 89, if you're going to speak, please stand, raise your right hand, and we'll swear you in. Okay, yes, ma'am. Go ahead with item number 82.
Thank you, Chairman and Council. LaShawn Dock, Development Coordination.
Council, item 82 is file number AB 22333. This is a special use request for alcoholic beverage sales. This is for a restaurant classification, consumption on premise, and package sales, consumption off premise for beer and wine. This item is before you for second reading. This is at the property located at 1523 East 7th Avenue. There were site plan changes required. Those changes have been made, and the plans have been certified and provided to the clerk. I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions or comments for Ms. Dock? Nope.
Thank you.
All right, do we have an applicant here for item number 82? I see Ms. Shaler is online. Is she online? Or she's registered? She is? She was not sworn in, so if she's going to speak, if you're going to speak, Ms. Shaler, we'll swear you in. If not, you don't see them? All right, is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 82? We have a motion closed from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Councilmember Hurtak, would you mind reading 82?
No problem, thank you. Item number 82, file number AB2-23-33. Ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance approving a special use permit, SU2, for alcoholic beverage sales, restaurant, consumption on premises, and package sales off premises consumption, and making lawful the sale of beer and wine at or from that certain lot, plot, or tract of land located at 1523 East 7th Avenue, first floor only, Tampa, Florida, as more particularly described in Section 3, providing that all ordinances or part of ordinances in conflict are repealed, repealing AB 1-23-37, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Clendenin. It's not flashing again, so roll call vote.
Henderson,
Yes.
Viera, Miranda.
Yes.
Carlson. Hurtak,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Maniscalco.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously with Viera being absent.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Dock. Item number 82.
Thank you again, Council. LaShawn Dock, Development Coordination. Item 83 is AB 224-01. This is a special use 2 request for alcoholic beverage sales. The classification is a bar lounge with consumption on premise and package sales consumption off premise. This is for beer, wine, and liquor. It's for the property at 304 East Davis Boulevard. Site plan modifications were required to be made between first and second reading. Those changes have been made. The site plan has been certified and provided to the clerk. I'm available if you have any questions.
Do we have any questions for Ms. Dock? No? Do we have an applicant for item number 83? Item number 83 is registered online. Is Mr. Pressman on? He is not on. Well, do we have any public comment for item number 83? We have a motion closed from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Carlson, 83.
I'd like to move item number 83, file number AB 2-24-01, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, ordinance approving a special use permit SU2 for alcoholic beverage sales, bar, lounge, nightclub consumption on premise, and package sales off premises consumption, and making lawful the sale of beverages regardless of alcohol content, beer, wine, and liquor at or from that same lot, plot, or tract of land located at 304 East Davis Boulevard, as more particularly described in Section 3, providing that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict are repealing ordinance number 2014-76, providing effective date.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Carlson, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? I'm sorry, roll call vote.
Viera, Miranda.
Yes.
Carlson. Yes. Hurtak,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Maniscalco.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously with Viera being absent.
Okay. Next up, yes, ma'am, Ms. Dock.
Thank you, Council. LaShawn Dock, Development Coordination. Item 84 is AB 224-03. This is a special use request for alcoholic beverage sales, a small venue classification with consumption on premise only. This is for beer and wine. This is for the property located at 253 Westshore Plaza. Site plan modifications were required to be made between first and second reading. Those changes have been made. The site plan has been certified and provided to the clerk. I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none? All right, Mr. Manassi, please state your name.
Good morning, City Council. Ryan Manassi with Johnson Pope, 400 North Ashley. I'm here to answer any questions. Otherwise, we'd respectfully request your approval.
Any questions for the gentleman? No? Do we have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on this item? I don't have anybody registered, so Councilmember Clendenin with the motion to close, Councilmember Miranda with the second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Miranda, 84.
Thank you, Chairman. Item number 84, file number AB2/24-03. Ordinance being presented for second reading, adoption. Ordinance approving a special use permit SU2 for alcohol beverage sales, small venue consumption on premise only, and making lawful the sale of beer, wine at certain lot, plot, or tract of land located at 253 Westshore Plaza, Tampa, Florida, is more particularly described in Section 2, providing that all ordinance or parts of ordinance in conflict are repealed, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Clendenin. Roll call vote, please.
Miranda.
Yes.
Carlson. Pertek.
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Viera. Maniscalco.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously with Viera being absent at vote.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Doc, 85.
Thank you, Council. LaShawn Dock, Development Coordination. Item 85 is AB 22404. This is for the property at 601 South Harbour Island Boulevard. The request is alcoholic beverage sales, large venue, consumption on premise, and package sales, consumption off premise. It's with the beer, wine, liquor category. This item is before you today for second reading. Site plan modifications were required to be made between first and second reading. Those changes have been made, and the plan has been certified and provided to the clerk. I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions or comments? No? All right,
Thank
do we
you,
have an
Counsel.
applicant for item number 85? Yes, sir?
Good morning, Ken Alley with Stearns Weaver Miller, 401 East Jackson Street. Just here to answer any questions. We were last on the agenda on first read, and Councilwoman Henderson looked like she had a question, so I want to answer that if necessary. If not, we're here for any other questions.
Any questions, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right.
All right, any other questions from council? No? Do we have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on 85? We have a motion to
Second.
close. Yes, ma'am? No, wrong. Yeah, there was nobody registered that I saw. Motion to close from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Councilmember Henderson, 85.
Yes, Chair. I move file number AB 22404, an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance approving a special use permit, SU2, for alcoholic beverages sales, large venue, consumption on premises, and
You gonna keep talking over here? Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair. An ordinance approving a special use permit, SU, for alcoholic beverages sales, large venue, consumption on premises, and packages off premises consumption, and making lawful the sale of beverages regardless of alcoholic content, beer, wine, liquor, at or from a certain lot, plot, or tract of land located at 601 South Harbour Island Boulevard, as more particularly described in Section 2, providing that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict are repealed, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Miranda. Roll call vote.
Carlson.
Yes.
Pertek.
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Viera. Miranda.
Yes.
Maniscalco.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously with Viera being absent.
Thank you very much. We're going to go into our 10 a.m. public hearings. Item number 86.
Get the clerk to share the Elmo screen, please. Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Ross Samus, Development Coordination, presenting file number VAC-24-01. The applicant's name is Christopher Thatch. The property address is 4107 North Clearfield Avenue. This is a proposed vacating request to vacate the alley lying north of North Bay Street, south of Alva Street, east of Clearfield Avenue, and west of Wynn Avenue. This application was filed with the City of Tampa on October 11, 2023. The applicant's reason for the application is it is a public nuisance. The alley was created by subdivision plat. The existing alleyway is approximately 3,564 square feet. Here's an aerial view showing proposed vacating request in yellow, the applicant's property in red. Here's the proposed vacating request. when it was platted in Chelsea subdivision in Block 7. Atlas sheet, again, proposed vacating request in red, Block 7, Chelsea subdivision. Here is an image of the alleyway looking east from Clearfield Avenue. Here's an image looking west from Lynn Avenue. Staff has no objections to this vacating request. Easement reservations are required by Wastewater, TECO, and Frontier. Special conditions consist of natural resources, must comply with Chapter 27 regarding tree preservation and site design for improvements placed adjacent to trees in a vacated area. That concludes my presentation. I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions from Mr. Sammons? Nope. Thank you very much, sir. All right, applicant?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Christopher Thatch, 4107 North Clearfield Avenue. I'm one of the 4 adjoining property owners to the alleyway. I've lived in the residence since 1999, and I have not seen any, obviously there's no municipal use of the alley, and there's been no civilian use of the alley in that period of time. But in that period of time, I was robbed 5 times. So, you get kind of not used to it, but, you think about that. And recently, I witnessed a person in the alley talking on the phone, looking around, and what it turned out to be was somebody was waiting for a ride in the alley. I called the police, but it was, by the time they, I don't even think they really responded. It was an emergency, and I wasn't going to confront this person. I didn't think that would be wise. But that kind of like sets the tone, and that was pretty recently. We've had a number of robberies, around the neighborhood, and the alley just serves as an access or facilitate movement, with, kind of not real good people going through there. But in this whole time, no one has ever really used the alley. So our feeling is that we would like to block it off to stop people from the not so great people. And with the economy the way it is now, it seems like there's a propensity for, nefarious activity. Stealing items, hawking them, selling them, just whatever they can get their hands on. So that's the reasoning, why we want to abandon the alley and just close it off and stop that activity. Only recently there's been, one of the neighbors cleared the alley, but like I said, no one's been in that alley since the turn of the century. So it's kind of like, all of a sudden, I don't know, what's the motivation to somebody start clearing it now? I don't know. So anyway, that's my desire.
Thank you very much. You said you are one of the 4
Yes.
owner applicants?
Yes,
Are you another one?
I'm 4107. You called out that address.
Okay. Are you another owner, sir?
Yes.
So okay, come on up and please state your name.
My name is Nick Whittle. I live at 4106 Northland Avenue. So I'm on basically the south side of the alley. All 4 households on the alley want to close the alley. Basically, the alley does not go through. It's 2 blocks. So east of me, it goes 1 block, and then it goes 1 block along my property. So you cannot get to any major thoroughfare through the alley. Basically, there's no reason for the alley to be open. There's really no public use for it. And we've had a series of bike thefts and people like that stashing stolen bicycles and things like that in the alley. It's a basic security risk, and I park my car on the alley So it's easily available for somebody to come up from Clearfield, where Mr. Thatch lives, and get to my car or my property. All of our backyards or side yards are on the alley, so it gives access to criminals or whatever to come up there. And as I said, there's no specific reason for the alley to be open. So I anticipate an objection from Mr. Mall and his lawyer, so I would like to address that. So when I bought my home, the alley up until the end of my property, to almost the end, is used as a driveway for myself and my neighbor on the north at 4108. Behind that, it was completely overgrown. There was a tiny pathway going through it. Well, what happened was myself and Patrick Gore, who I believe was supposed to speak through Zoom, filed complaints against Mr. Mall about his numerous code violations, which went to a hearing and he lost. Since then, he tried then to get the city to clear the alley, went in there himself, chopped a bunch of stuff down, and just left the debris in the alley. So basically, Mr. Mall is going to speak against the closure, vacating the alley. It's basically retaliation for the neighbors complaining on him. And actually, the house at 4108, which is just north of me, Mr. Mall owned that property as a rental property when I moved in. He owned that property from 76 to 2006, and he let the alley get overgrown. So when he owned that property on the alley, he had no interest in clearing out the alley. He had no interest in it in the 23 years I lived there until there were complaints and code violations, against his property for code violations.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
Sir,
you.
are you another applicant / owner? Are you here for public comment?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll come after. Online, I have two more individuals, Patrick Gore and Mike Leone. Patrick Gore, if you're on, you don't have to be sworn in. It's non-quasi-judicial. Go ahead and please state your name. Are they both on? All right, Mr. Gore, you're going to be the only one. Then I'm going to go to general public comment, and then there's going to be a rebuttal. Mr. Gore, if you're on.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please turn on your camera. There you go. Please state your name, sir.
My name is Patrick Gore. I'm a resident of 511 West North Bay Street. I'm one of the applicants for vacating the alley. I would like to share my screen. Is that possible? Okay. I don't know what, give me 1 second, please. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Can you see a presentation?
Not yet. We see your main desktop, but open up the presentation.
Okay, let me move it over then. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right, well, I guess this is not going to cooperate with me today. I'll just read off of this and I can send it in. So I've been a resident of 511 West North Bay Street or a resident of that alley. I've owned Mr. Whittle. I owned the house, previously sold it to Mr. Whittle. I now live at 511 West North Bay Street since 2000. So I've been on this alley for collectively almost 27 years. And in that time, as I would agree in total agreement with Mr. Thatch and Mr. Whittle, there has been no use of this alley whatsoever, except for individuals basically up to no good. And so we have, as somebody who is a third generation Tampano, I have extended family in Seminole Heights. My father lives 2 houses down. My mother lives 3 blocks over. My sister lives across from Mr. Whittle. We've all experienced crime related to this alley facilitating easy access, cutting through there, and people being able to hide in there and engage in criminal activity. During that time, we have maintained that alley. We have taken care of it. And we've also had a historical interest in asking to vacate it for safety and security reasons. And you know, it's one of those things, you talk about it and you talk about it, an issue happens and you talk about it. And we've recently had a number of events that galvanized us to take action, and thank you, Mr. Thatch, for leading the charge there. Again, recapping the rationale for approving our request is the alley facilitates crime. The original purpose of the alley is moot. It is no longer, it's not been in use or by the city in any way. All four property owners are in complete agreement of this. Bordering property owners assume responsibility for taking care of the alley or taking care of that property if it is vacated. And the city of Tampa also gains tax income. At this moment, it's not in use. We're looking we're willing to take over responsibility for it. And at that point, we're also going to have to pay more taxes on it. So that should benefit the city. I please ask you to approve this request. Approving this request makes our neighborhood safer. Approving this request reduces crime. Approving this request increases tax revenue to the city. And approving this request provides peace of mind to those residents and your constituents. Thank you very much for your consideration in this matter. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. That concludes the presentation, because I believe those were the owner applicants that were present. So we're going to go to public comment, but we have several people registered online. I know Mr. Mole is here in person. He's on my list. So we'll start with Teresa Goldberg. Is she online? She is, and she is the only one online. Okay, so we'll go with, yes, ma'am. Teresa Goldberg, please state your name. Go ahead.
Sorry, my camera's unable to work at this moment. My name's Teresa Goldberg.
Wait, we need your camera on first.
I'm trying. Nope, it's not allowed. It's telling me it's not allowed. Oh, turn camera on. Hold on. It's giving me opportunity now.
There we
Yes,
go.
hi.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Teresa Goldberg, and I'm a resident of South Seminole Heights and a homeowner in very close proximity to the alley we are discussing today. My apologies for not being able to be there in person today due to some work commitments. I support the petition to close this alley for a number of reasons. The uses for which the alley had been established has since become unnecessary over the decades. Each of the surrounding homes have designated egress and ingress to their property. There are adequate paved streets on the North Clearfield and North Lynn sides for homeowners and pedestrians and others to use. The alley has become a source of concern due to crime, vagrant and drug users hanging out in the alley, homeless encampment, which poses a serious danger to homeowners, pedestrians, and children at play. If the pedestrians use the alley, it's unpaved and unlit, which is a concern for safety and injuries. No one has used the alley in the 6 years I've been a homeowner in this neighborhood. The alley was overgrown at some point and had been cut down, causing it to become a place for crime, vagrant, drug use, and that's a major concern for us. If the alley is used for through traffic, that will raise even more concerns, as the alley is not designed to handle vehicular traffic, as it is approximately 11 feet wide. It cannot handle two-way traffic, and any traffic will pose a serious danger, again, to pedestrians, cyclists, and children at play. It is for these reasons why we need to have the City Council approve the petition to close this alley to ensure the integrity and safety of South Seminole Heights community. I respectfully request that you grant this petition to close the alley to the public. You should also have several letters in support of closing the alley from numerous residents surrounding this alley in question that were submitted via email. I urge you to consider your decision. Thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. That concludes the virtual public comments. So if you're here in person to speak on item number 86, please come up. You'll have 3 minutes. Whoever wishes to kick it off. Yes, sir. Good morning. Please state your name.
Thanks. My name is Britt Massing. I live on Clearfield Avenue, across and about a half a lot over from where ingress and egress for the alley is coming onto Clearfield Avenue. I'm in support of closing the alley. In the 2 years that we have lived there, we have not witnessed any neighbors actually using the alley for anything. It is being used by our transient population to live and scope out potential crimes and theft. And I know this because on December 12th of '23, our house, we fell victim to a double bike theft while my wife was at home in the house. The criminal came into our garage, stole a mountain bike, and took off. We have video from our security of the individual coming in, of the individual coming out of the garage. Surprisingly, then there was video 20 minutes later of the same individual coming back into our garage, taking another bike, leaving with the bike, again, while my wife was at home. You know, I can only imagine, right, what may have happened if she walked out into the garage to get something, you know, during one of these times. So what happened during that 20 minutes? The individual sold the bike that has a retail value of approximately $3,000 to Mr. Mole, our neighbor, for $10. Later that night, some of our neighbors saw the same individual breaking into Mr. Mole's car. The person did get away that evening, but they called me over because Mr. Mole had stated that he had bought a bike from that individual earlier in the day for $10. Then Mr. Mole proceeded to tell me that he called REI earlier that day to try and find out how much the bike was worth. We literally had to have the cops have him go in and bring the bike out for me to say, use the case number, etc. Luckily, because of our neighbors, because of Tampa Police, we did get both of the bikes back. But again, you know, I've never seen anybody use this alley for anything except for no good. So we are absolutely in approval of having this closed off. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Next speaker, sir. Please say your name.
Good morning, Harold Holder with Bush Ross, 1801 North Highland Avenue. I'm here on behalf of John Mall. Mr. Mall is the resident of 4104 North Lynn Avenue, which I'm trying to...
yeah, it's coming up.
Okay. So the alley that they're requesting to close is here in yellow. His home is located right here. It's been in the Mall's family for about 125 years. The City Code Section 2236 requires the application to state the reason for the alley to be closed. In this case, the petitioner stated reason is that the alley is no longer in public use, and then it says it's used by one abutting property owner. The concept that the alley is no longer in public use is simply false. I have a letter from a local neighbor, Mr. Kavanaugh, who is a resident in the neighborhood since 1965. Says, I walk this neighborhood frequently and use the alley designated. He references this case number often. Concerns me that the alley will be closed to the public. Consider me an opponent to your plans to close this area. I'm not alone in this case. Many people walk in this area and use this alley. Why must it be closed? I personally see no reason. Thank you for your consideration. Also, Mr. Mall will have a chance to testify about how he uses the alley to walk. There are other neighbors who use the alley to walk. Mr. Mall is known by the South Seminole Heights Civic Association's webpage as a local legend. He's a champion of South Seminole Heights. I think the last time I was here before you was for a project where they were trying to increase density there and build up to 8-story apartment building that was opposed, and ultimately this council agreed not to increase the density there. I'll put up a case. It's Ronnie Investment Company, Inc. versus City of Miami Beach from the Florida Supreme Court in 1937. 127 Florida 773 is the site. It simply stands for the proposition that when closing an alley, it must be done with regard to the rights and necessities of the public. It can't simply be that the 4 people who live near the alley don't want it anymore. The city council must consider the public's needs and rights. And the idea that that criminals will see this alley, which, by the way, both of these two homeowners need the alley to stay open so they can get to their driveways and park. If a future homeowner decided to stop that, then there would be more parking out on the streets. But this concept that this is going to remain open, and a criminal is going to look down that driveway and say, oh, that's not a public alley anymore. Someone that's willing to commit a crime is going to be willing to go into the alley. And so I respectfully request that the city keep this alley open for the use of the public.
Mr. Shelby.
Yes, Counselor, I'm sorry, sir. Did you want any of that, what you presented, anything placed into the record?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mull. And please state your name, sir.
My name is John Mull, 4104 North Lynn Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33603-3421. I have the same thing that you saw in Elmo. Is it up there now?
Yes, sir. We can see it.
Yes, it is. All right. I moved here in 1951. And my parents bought the house here. I'm pointing to, I don't know if it's showing you, I'm right there. So I've been on that, using that alley for over 70 years, as well as other people who use it also. Just because these people don't walk the alley doesn't mean the public hasn't walked it. They probably watching their TV inside and don't see what's going on outside. But I do my constitutional every morning, trying to maintain my mobility. In fact, I just walked that alley today as exercising my constitutional right to be in the right-of-way. As you go on around here, this one here, this is where Nick lives, he just spoke. He uses the alley every day to drive his car back to park it in the alley. He's not supposed to. He's been told that he's not supposed to park in the alley, but he continues to do so. On the other side, Mike, I think you were supposed to talk to him by Zoom. He runs an Airbnb there. He doesn't even live on the property. And his Airbnb customers come and use that alley to get to the car park where his rental is. So it's in use every day. And then this one here was Chris, who was the applicant. Just the other day, I was in the alley trying to keep it clean and so you can walk through it. And he talked to me and asked me if I was going to park there. I said, for a little while I cleaned up. So I think it should remain as a right-of-way where people who in the neighborhood, like you just heard David Commenor, he read about it, walk and enjoy, happen to walking on not asphalt. I have another one picture here, I think, of the, you can see that these people talking, they think this is their private driveway and it's already closed. So here's, when did it stop being used for the public? It's still in use. It's been that use for 120 years. I hope to be able to continue to walk there tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, at this time, we have 5 minutes for rebuttal. I know there were multiple applicants, but if there's going to be a rebuttal, please stay within those 5 minutes. Who wishes to rebut if there is any? Yes, sir. Wait. Come on up and state your name in the microphone.
Yeah, my name is Nick Whittle. He pointed out my property. Like I said, until summer of last year, you couldn't get through that alley behind my property. There was a tiny little path through that alley. Mr. Mull he went in and cleared that alley. He did it in retaliation for filing code violations. He had no interest in that alley before last summer. And as I said, he owned the property, which Michael Leone now owns. When I moved in, that alley was overgrown. There was a little pathway like that through it. He never used it, and he let the alley get overgrown because he was an owner of a property on the alley. So this whole thing from him is purely retaliation, and I don't know who this other guy is, but I'm retired. I'm a retired attorney. I sit on my porch all the time. No members of the general public ever go down the alley. And as regards the alley, myself and Michael Leone are going to do an easement so we can each use it as a driveway. Behind our properties, Mr. Thatch and Mr. Gore are going to close the alley. So anyway.
Thank you very much. Is there anything further from council? Any questions or comments before we ask for a motion to close? Wait. Who? Oh, Mr. Gore, there's still some time left in the 5-minute rebuttal. Mr. Gore, is there anything you wanted to say or add? Please turn on your camera and...
Can you hear me?
Yes. We need to bring him
Yes.
up on the screen. Yes, sir, go ahead. Please state your name.
Yes, sir. Again, this is Patrick Gore, one of the applicants, and I would echo what Mr. Whittle said. In addition to the fact, when you speak about the concept of right-of-way, currently Mr. Mall has been found in violation of obstructing the right-of-way along his property line on Lynn Avenue and West North Bay Street. And is currently in arrears. The city's put a lien on his property because he's obstructing the right-of-way with junk and debris. So I don't know why he is now motivated to come poke around behind my house, invade my privacy, lurking around there all the time. Anyway, and that is another reason why we respectfully request that you approve our petition to vacate this, give us some peace of mind, and help us get secure this area so we can have some peace of mind and safety in our home. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir, Councilmember Clendenin.
For city staff, can you remind us whose responsibility it is to maintain and clean alleys?
Pretty sure, I don't know the code language itself, but Ross Hammonds Development Coordination, it's the adjacent property owners abutting the alley to the center line.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, any other questions or comments? If not, I'll ask for a motion to close. Motion closed from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? What is the pleasure of council? Would anybody like to read 86?
I'll take it, and I'll make a couple statements first. One, it sounds like we just have neighborhood disputes more than about the issue of closing an alley. For those of y'all that have been paying attention, the city of Tampa values its alley system, and we try to retain that trait. And it's not about, we make these land use decisions, it's not necessarily about the current land use, but it's about the future land use, because we're only on this planet for a short period of time. Somebody else will come along and be occupying these houses, and we don't want to necessarily give away the rights and the thoroughfare for future land owners of those properties as well. So I'm going to move to deny the vacating. I move to deny file number VAC-24-01. Oh, the hearing's still open. I thought we closed it.
No. We did close it. We did.
Yes. Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
So, and what was said, and I really, it rung true in that Supreme Court case that was submitted into evidence. I believe Marty took that about the greater good for the city and what the city has to take into consideration when we vacate those alleys. It doesn't serve the general public's best interest in approving the vacating of this petition. Because once again, for urban planning for the city of Tampa, we're trying to activate and utilize these alleys. So as we develop and redevelop the city of Tampa, we're trying to activate these alleys, eliminate on-street parking, provide access to garages in the back, which shows in those pictures we just saw that current use of this property is used to access garages from that alleyway. So once again, Marty, I know you handed me this, but I'm going to read through all this right now. But I move to deny file number VAC-24-01. The applicants did not show a compelling evidence that this was in the public's interest for the city of Tampa or our urban planning.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin and a second from Councilmember Hurtak. Roll call vote.
Herzog,
Yes.
Clendenin,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Viera, Miranda,
Yes.
Carlson. Yes. Maniscalco.
No.
Motion carried with Maniscalco voting no and Viera absent at vote to move to deny.
Thank you very much. All right, next we have two items. Item number 89, there's an email requesting that the said public hearing be rescheduled. We'll get to that if there's a date when we get to it. Oh, it's a misnotice?
Yeah.
So do we need a date, or can we just make a motion to continue that?
It's not even continued. I believe, if I can ask Land Development to take a look at that, I believe, is that done administratively, the notice for the hearing?
The note, excuse me, Steve
Please say your
Michelini,
name.
I was representing the petitioner. The notice was never,
He did.
Steve Michelini. I can say it again. The notice was never perfected because they counted the days when February, the date screwed them up, so they missed the sending out the notice. So we're just asking for a new hearing date be set.
Well, the question is that done administratively or is that done by city council? I'm sorry. Is that a clerk question?
It's a clerk question.
It's a clerk question. May 16th at 10 a.m.?
Thank you very much.
All right, let's get a motion to continue. or
No, it's not
reschedule-
continue, it's reschedule,
To
please.
schedule item number 89 for May 16th at 10 a.m., 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida. Is there a motion to that effect?
So move.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor? Aye. All right, so we'll go into 87. Rebecca
you.
Johns is here. Please state your name. Welcome to Tampa City Council.
Rebecca Johns, Legal Department. This is the second public hearing for the development agreement for University Park multifamily project. You have a substitute development agreement that was provided to you. The only change between the first hearing and the second hearing was that the landscaping plan was updated to match the site plan. The developer is here if you have any questions.
All right, do we have any, we do have the attorneys and the developer here. Please state your name, sir. Come on up.
Jim Schimberg, Cuban Law Group. You've heard this project before. We're here to answer any questions. The clients are here as well. We appreciate your support.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from council members? Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 87? Seeing none, may I have a motion to close?
So move.
We have a motion to close from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Who did I leave off with? Do you remember? Councilman Vieira, would you mind reading the substitute resolution for 87?
Just in time.
Justin, we were waiting for you.
My apologies. Here you go. Move a resolution approving development agreement between University Park multifamily project between the City of Tampa and Semco Investments LLC relating to the property located at 401940, or strike that 4105 and 4151 East Fowler Avenue in the City of Tampa, Florida, authorizing the execution thereof by the Mayor of the City of Tampa, providing effective date.
And this is the substitute. Do we have a second from Councilmember Miranda? Let's get a roll call vote.
Clendenin,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Viera,
Yes.
Miranda.
Yes.
Carlson. Herzog.
Yes.
Maniscalco.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
All right, item number 88 is also a review hearing. I don't know how long this is going to go, but I would recommend that we break for lunch after this item so we can go right into the administration update and kick it off from there. Yes, ma'am, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Kamaria Pettisnacker from the Legal Department. I'm here on item number 88, which is a petition for review for a city application of SU 124-3 for the property located at 1014 East 31st Avenue. The petitioner or the authorized agent is Mr. Steve Michelini. His client made a request from the city regarding an accessory dwelling unit. City staff denied that request on January 5th of 2024 on the basis that it did not meet several criteria as outlined in Code Section 27-132 regarding the specific uses in the code. As City Council, I previously just gave out a sample motion, the rules of procedure in order to conduct this hearing. Code Section 27-61, which governs how you conduct review hearings, and also Code Section -132 and Code Section -129 and 130 are in the staff report for this matter. According to Code Section -2761, subsection J3, City Council will be able to do a de novo review hearing, which means City Council can accept new information regarding this matter. Mr. Eric Cotton is here in order to present the staff report regarding this matter and why staff denied the application. Upon hearing all the evidence in this case, City Council can take two actions. City Council can affirm the decision of the zoning administrator who denied the application for the special use for this property, or City Council can overturn the decision of the zoning administrator and therefore approve the use that is asked for by the petitioner. And with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Cotton for a further explanation of what the application is and why staff denied the application.
Good morning, Eric Cotton. I have been sworn, City of Tampa Development Coordination Office. I will just show it on the Elmo. Is it up? Do y'all see it? Okay. So as Ms. Pettis-Mackel was indicating, this is a review hearing for a special use, SU 124-3. The petitioner is Stephen Michelini, representing J&R Properties of Brandon. Property is located at 1014 East 31st Avenue. Zoning is RS50. The applicant was asking for an accessory dwelling unit. So this application is in East Tampa. East Tampa was just approved to have accessory dwelling units as a special use. The applicant was applied to take advantage of that request. This is the aerial map. You can see it outlined in red, the property location. And on the flip side is the submitted site plan. So the application was denied primarily because of there's two reasons in the code that it was denied. One, it's in a non-conforming structure. The code right now requires accessory dwelling units when they come in to be in a conforming structure. If it's a non-conforming structure, staff can't waive that requirement. We have to deny it at a staff level, and it goes to City Council for your review and approval or denial. The other reason is the applicant does not live there. It's not owner occupied, and one of the requirements of the special use criteria for that is main residence has to be owner occupied. Now you can have an accessory dwelling unit. It doesn't have to be accessory structure. It can be in the same structure, like in this case, like a single family, semi-detached use or a duplex kind of use. But this requires the applicant to actually live on the property also. So those are the two reasons: non-conforming structure and the applicant doesn't live on the property. Those are the two reasons for the denial. Staff have any
questions for Mr. Cotton? No?
All right,
That's,
awesome,
that's
thank
the
you.
entire presentation, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm always
All right.
brief.
Mr. Michelini, you are the applicant, sir. Come on up. Please state your name. And Mr. Shelby, you didn't ask if we had any ex parte communications to receive and file, so. if
So why
anybody-
why don't we just ask if there are any?
Just to keep the record clean, any ex parte communications that need to be received and filed? Okay.
Well,
Thank you very much.
I don't know if anything had come in. But let's do a motion anyway, just to be on the safe side.
All right, motion from Councilman Vieira, second from Councilmember Clendenin. This is to receive and file any ex parte written documents. All in favor? Aye. Okay, go ahead, sir, Mr. Michelini.
Good morning, council. I'm here representing Joe Govid, and so he's had this property, and it was cited for having a duplex. We did the research. We went back on the Polk directories, and we could find records back to 1972 in the Polk directories indicating it was a duplex. In addition to that, we have records back to 1931 in the Sanborn maps showing it was a duplex. There are two mailboxes. There are 2 electric meters. The building itself, the units are 450 square feet approximately each, which means that they do qualify for they're less than 950 square feet. The units are basically divided like that. The roof line didn't change. They have two entry doors that are in the front. And we have the documentation showing basically that we have met the intent of the code. This is the document related to the building being built in 1926. Again, we have Sanborn maps showing that it was a duplex at least as early as 1931. They have been paying their fair share of taxes related to, and the impact fee, I mean, the associated fees for water and sewer, the franchise fees associated with electricity, all since, at least as far as we can tell, since 1931. The other duplexes, there are other duplexes in the area. The two sizes are 464 feet for Unit A and 450 square feet for Unit B. There's separate entry doors, as I said. This maintains an alternative housing. It maintains an alternate housing provision. It documents the existence for at least 52 years and earlier if you accept the Sanborn maps. The city code requires you to use polk directories. The polk directories are sketchy earlier than 1972, and we only had the Sanborn maps which verify that earlier use. That only became available in the last couple days. The comprehensive plan encourages the use of an efficient use of land, for residential housing. The conversion, if this is denied, converting it back to a single-family residence would be extensive, as the wiring is already there for 2 meters separated within the house, as well as a financial hardship for the owner. The non-conforming uses of the two units, again, the code is there. In your package, you have, additionally, you have a letter from the adjacent neighbor who says that the neighbor, I'm the neighbor, I'm just going to paraphrase this. I've owned and lived there for almost 25 years. Ever since I've lived there, I've seen my neighbor's house as a duplex. I wish to express my opinion. I'd like to urge you and the authorities to not make any changes and to allow the two dwelling units to remain. And his name and address is included in your package. This is the Sanborn map, 1931. And you have that in your package that I just gave to you. And there are other units, other duplexes in this area. This is in East Tampa on 31st Street. Finish going through this stuff. The property appraiser's office has it listed in their property history records as being a duplex as far back as they had history records that we could discover. We're asking that you vest the existing use as is, based on the information we provided. There are also additional information and support in the comprehensive plan, and I'll be happy to cite the references. City design, land use objective 1.2, create and inspired urban design while respecting Tampa's human scale, unique history, aesthetics, natural environment, and sense of community identity for the city. City planning strategy, land use policy 2.1.1, encourage a compact, higher density development that is compatible with the surrounding character. And we've surveyed not just the property owner across the street, but the other property owners in the area. They all recalled it as being duplex. Land use policy 2.1.2, use limited land use resources more efficiently and pursue a development pattern that is more economically sound by encouraging infill development on vacant land. This is an existing house, existing duplex, and it's been there at least, we can document in one record 52 years and another record more than 70 years. The overall residential development and redevelopment land use policy 9.2.6 encourage single-family attached and multifamily developments to be designed to include orientation of the front doors toward the neighborhood streets. It's been that way since 1926. Low medium density multifamily areas land use 9.7.1 provide opportunities to attach housing at slightly higher densities than single-family areas, adequate sites to accommodate housing needs, ensure that adequate supply of housing is available to meet the needs and preferences and financial capabilities of the housing market and what's demanded. This is a lower, smaller scale residential unit. There are 2 units there. If you remove one, it's a matter of complicating and increasing the demand for housing someplace else, and it creates a financial hardship on the owner. I believe that we have documented and we have substantiated all of the reasons why this should be approved, and we're respectfully requesting your approval.
Any questions? I saw Councilmember, I think Hurtak was first by a split second, then Councilmember Clendenin.
I think I already, well, I'm just gonna ask the question, why are you not coming, why isn't this a request for a multifamily duplex?
You can't meet the land use designation.
Mr. Cotton.
The land use designation is R10. There's 2 units. The property isn't big enough to be considered for 2 units.
Okay, Mr. Cotton.
Yes, ma'am. So, Eric Cotton, Development Coordination. As Mr. McLean just indicated, the land use is R10, so you can't have 2 units on the property. I want to reorient staff, because you talked a lot about nonconformities. I mean, reorient council back to the fact that this is an appeal or petition for review on an accessory dwelling unit. That's the solution that the applicant has to keep the 2 units on there. There were 3 reasons for the denial. The first one I left out, which Mr. McLean indicated, which is the square footage of each unit, the fact that the property owner does not live on the property, and the fact that it's in a non-conforming structure. Those are the 3 reasons for the denial. That's what council would be looking at, not necessarily the age of the structure and when it became a duplex. They did apply for a formal decision to prove a non-conformity. That request had been denied by staff because they didn't meet that burden of proving a non-conforming use on the property or in a non-conforming structure. So hence, they came in and they applied for the SU1 in an effort to, as when accessory dwelling units became a special use in Tampa Heights, that was the option they were given to try to keep the 2 units. If not, they would have to change the land use and such to try to get the 2 units on the property. So, that help explain?
Yeah, but it just seems though that if this has been the same use for so many years, we could find a way as a city to codify that.
Well, they did. That was the formal decision process. They went through and they were unable to prove that it had to be legally established as a duplex as of prior to 1956 and remain that way as a duplex use till today, kind of thing. Through the formal decision process, they were not able to do that. The Sanborn maps were not presented that Mr. McLean talked about today. Were not submitted as part of that formal decision process.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think Councilwoman Hurtak took some of my questions, but so curious, how did we get here? Was the applicant trying to improve the property, or how did this rise to our attention?
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how it got here. I think code enforcement was doing a sweep in the area, and they issued a citation. And we've been in this process for about 1.5 years trying to resolve this, and the staff has been as helpful as they could be.
Right.
And they were stuck, but with the approval of the ADUs with the code change, that presented an avenue for resolution of how do you correct it. You may have others in the area that may have the same problem.
So for Mr. Cotton, I'm kind of piggyback on what Councilwoman Hurtak said. Now, clearly, there's probably many examples of this historical use of property that doesn't necessarily conform with it's kind of like the square peg in the round hole right now. Is this the path of least resistance to fix this problem where we're at right here today?
Ideally, they would go through a formal decision process to try to prove that the use was legally established. Again, you have to prove back to 1956 that duplex was established legally and has continuously remained occupied.
Well, it appears to me with the Sanborn maps that, I know he probably should have gone through that process first, but now with the Sanborn maps, it probably, if that was presented in a formal process, that would probably be compelling evidence for.
It would be evidence that we would have reviewed, yes.
Somebody's creeping up behind you.
As Mr. Michelini indicated, she keeps doing that to me. As Mr. Michelini indicated, they applied for the formal decision. The Sanborn maps they just got today, or within the last couple of days. One of the issues that YOSO utilized for the formal decision, not to get off topic of the petition for review information, is also the Polk directories. When they submitted the Polk directory, the first time a duplex shows up is 76. Prior to that, it was always listed as one unit. So all that evidence comes into light when we review it, and that's how we base our decision on the property for the formal decision. The ADU is a solution that was offered to them to go through since the code was changed for East Tampa.
So if we didn't have the ADUs in there, would there be another solution that you would have pursued, or
There
for
would have
grandfathering these things in?
They would have, as I think Ms. Feely just indicated, they would have to do a comp plan amendment to an R20 land use, then come in and rezone the property to a PD or an RM16 or something.
Did you want to add something to that?
And you wouldn't have been able to, there's no adjacent R20s that the planning
It would have been
commission
difficult.
could support that. And one other thing that Eric didn't mention was you have to show a chain of leases that, back from 56, and they just are not available.
Right.
Kamaria Pettisnackle from the legal department. I just wanted to redirect city council on what we're here for. This is an application for an accessory dwelling unit. And staff provided the specific code sections and the specific criteria that must be met in order for this to be approved. But if city council believes that the applicant provided competent and substantial evidence to waive the criteria regarding the accessory dwelling unit, then that's for city council to decide. But there's, the information that Mr. Michelini has presented is regarding a different process that he went through for this property. But I just want to remind council, we're not here regarding a formal decision or to make this property conforming. This is about an accessory dwelling unit.
Okay, thank you.
If you'll excuse me for a second. I was just trying to respond to your questions. We've been through several different processes and probably a dozen meetings with city staff trying to figure out how to resolve this for this poor gentleman. And this was the least path of resistance to get to where we needed to be. And we respectfully request your approval.
Councilmember Miranda.
No, I mean, I'm just listening and trying to understand how far back this goes. And when I see 2 meters, I know that presently no electric company would put meters on any property unless they had the proper notification, the proper, I think that's the way it is. But I don't know how the meters got there unless.
From my experience, Mr. Miranda, the city would have had to sign off on something to get 2 meters. TECO is very stringent about adding meters, so it wasn't just an add-on to a piece of property. They had to have proved at some point that they were entitled to 2 meters. Now, we did go back with TECO to try to get earlier records to try to find out when those meters were installed, and their records didn't go back far enough to satisfy the city code, which was 1956, and that's a very high burden to me.
What about the water meters?
The water meters are there. I mean, they're paying for that. They've paid for their everything else associated with it as if it were a duplex. The problem is we just simply couldn't prove it according to the city criteria.
I'm sorry? No, I know. Anybody in the public wish to speak? Anybody? Anybody? Yes, ma'am? Please come on up and state your name. You have 3 minutes.
I thought this was a very interesting little tidbit right here. How did we get here? My guess is the whole page of code enforcement complaints since the applicant purchased the property. But when I looked at this, because I was like, my real problem with this is the fact that I couldn't figure out what the world they were asking for. I'm like, are they gonna build an accessory dwelling unit? There's duplexes there, what's going on with this? But what I thought was really interesting is that the tax records show that it's a duplex. I'm not necessarily even adverse to leave it alone. We need 450 square foot units. My guess is that this guy is not getting market rate for his units. But my issue would be, why do we have all these code enforcement complaints? Are they due to that? Did I dig into it that far? No, but I just remember when I looked at it, I went to the tax appraiser's website to look at it, which is interesting because it shows as one unit on the tax appraiser's website, but over here it says it's a duplex. So I don't know what's going on here, but I mean, why are we gonna get, this is missing middle. Sorry, it's not an accessory dwelling unit, it's missing middle. It's a duplex, which we need housing. So, you know, I don't know how I feel about it. I just wish that this guy was a better landlord if all these are code enforcement complaints because he's not keeping up.
And
with
if you could
property.
state your name for the
Oh,
record.
Stephanie Pointer.
Thank you.
And I was sworn. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak for public comment? Is there any additional staff at this, comment at this time, sir, Mr. Cotton?
Eric Cotton, Development Coordination. Just want to, again, as Ms. Pettis-Mackel indicated, this is a petition for review for a special use one for an accessory dwelling unit. The other evidence that has been discussed about the history of whether it became a duplex, what's on the tax records and such, the issue is whether or not an accessory dwelling unit, there are specific criteria the applicant needs to meet. If they can't meet it, again, staff denies that request, and then it comes before council to make a determination if staff will be overturned or upheld.
Thank you very much. And I would be in support of overturning the denial. I think it's pretty cut and dry in my opinion. Do you have any rebuttal, sir?
No, sir, we appreciate your support, and I think the man has endured a hardship that needs to be corrected, and this is the path of correcting that problem.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to close? Motion to close from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilman Vieira. All in favor? Aye. What is the pleasure of council? We can uphold or overturn? Would anybody like to take it?
I'll just read it, but I don't have anything to add to it. Okay, and by the way, yeah, this is no indictment of staff, because, you know, I think, again, you guys had the tools that you had to use, you know, for what was presented for you at that, so I understand that, you know, overturning this is not a reflection on staff. Just want to make sure people know that. I move to overturn the zoning administrator's denial of SU 12303 for the property located at 1014 East 31st Avenue, because the petitioner provided competent substantial evidence to waive the specific requirements for an accessory dwelling unit regarding owner occupancy size requirements and location within a conforming structure.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin and a second from Councilmember Miranda. Roll call vote.
Henderson,
Yes.
Vieira,
Yes.
Uh,
Miranda,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Hurtek,
Yes.
Clendenin,
Yes.
Maniscalco.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Before-
much.
Thank you. Before we go to lunch,
Just tell them thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. I'm very
And ladies.
grateful to you guys for taking the time.
please state your name.
My name is Javed Gohar. I'm the owner of the property.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you
Please
very much.
silence your phone. Thank you
God
very
bless
much.
you guys.
Per request of Ms. Nicole Travis for the administration update, it should take about 5 to 7 minutes. We're going to take that up now, and then we're going to go to lunch. I thought it was going to be a lengthier presentation, but it's not. So, yes, ma'am, please state your name.
Nicole Travis, Administrator of Development and Economic Opportunity. It's great to see you guys. We're excited to roll out or share our economic dashboard with council and with the public today. This economic dashboard is a snapshot of Tampa's evolving and growing economy. It's a real-time tool that you can just use at a click of a button to learn more information about our economy and how consumers are spending. This allows people to understand how they will invest in our community. So it's a real brief presentation, but we're really excited to share this with you. I'm going to let our Director of Economic Opportunity, Javier Marin, and Brenda McKenzie, who's the Director of Workforce Partnerships and Special Projects, share this with you. It'll take no more than 7 minutes. Thank you very much for your
Thank
indulgence.
you very much, ma'am. Go ahead, sir. Please state your name.
Madam Administrator, good morning, and thank you, Chair. Good morning,
Your name, sir?
Council. For the record, Javier Marin, Director of Economic Opportunity. And let's see.
All right, we have a PowerPoint presentation, which we're bringing up now.
We actually have.
Oh, you have your,
I'm just going to share some information.
okay.
So again, thank you for the opportunity to come and present before you today.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
okay.
It's going to come up now. This is for you.
we wanted to come and share some of the tools that we use, from the economic development perspective, so we can help the citizens and businesses in the city of Tampa move forward. And so we felt that there may also be an opportunity to make this information public, so existing and prospective business owners, residents, and maybe even developers can take a look and kind of get a pulse of what's happening economically within the city of Tampa. What you have in front of you is what we call the economic dashboard for the city of Tampa, and it has about 47 different indicators. We have used 9 different resources and databases for this purpose. Some of them are publicly accessible, some of them are private and for a fee. But we felt it was important not only for our job, but also for general information for the public. You will see that there are 7 different tabs that make up the dashboard. And if you wanted to actually take a look at information on the 47 data points that we use, you will see that there is a label for it, there is an actual description, typically what it would be used for, the geography, because in some cases you're going to be able to see information that covers the whole MLS, the 4 counties that encompass the whole MLS. In some cases you may be able to see the city of Tampa within its limits. In some other cases, city of Tampa zip codes. So again, we know it's not necessarily within city limits. And we've also been able to break it down a little bit in some of the most important areas within the city. And then, of course, there is a source and there is a link to that source. So anyone that desires to view this information can actually identify where it comes from and how the information is typically used. On the key indicators, you will find information such as unemployment at 3.1%, the central business district office occupancy, new businesses, rent burden business, and I'll talk a little bit more about those in a few minutes, and then venture capital investments. Again, this tab is really just the key indicators, and then everything else is broken down. I would like to invite at this time Director McKenzie to give us an overview of the jobs tab and how that's typically used in her work.
Good morning, good afternoon, Council. Brenda McKenzie, Director of Workforce Partnerships and Special Projects. It is a pleasure to share this with you today. It's born out of collaboration. The Workforce Council has been working for a couple of years. We've been advised from everyone from the University of South Florida, a number of workforce groups, collaborators, the state of Florida, to really come up with indicators for workforce that will help not only advise us so that we can advise you better in terms of workforce policies and opportunities that are coming online, but also wanted to provide information to individuals who might be curious about what's going on in the economy. What are the job skills that people are really interested in? Who's really hiring now? Where do I find my opportunity? So we really wanted to have that information as well. We also wanted to use identifiable sources that our collaborators, whether it be CareerSource or others, are using, so that when we compare how we're doing here in Tampa, it's consistent with the county, it's consistent with the state, it's consistent with Charlotte, North Carolina, so that we're really comparing apples to apples. So we're encouraging everyone to really delve into the data. We're hoping that it sparks a conversation and that it really drives our policy forward.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. And so since we know that we're standing before, between you and lunch at this point in time, I'll just go quickly through the rest of the tabs. When you look at real estate, and you remember that we have a contract with this Tampa Bay Economic Development Council to attract businesses and help existing businesses grow. And so those businesses that are coming into the city of Tampa typically are going to be looking for some support in terms of location. So we have looked at office real estate and broke it down into 4 different areas. We have the I-4 corridor, we have the Northwest Tampa area, the Tampa Central Business District, which, as you can see, occupancy is at close to 90%. And we also have Westshore. And so I think this is going to help us move in that direction where we're going to be able to partner with the EDC and identify additional areas where some of the companies that they work with could be located. I would say that applies as well to industrial areas, and in this case, we actually broke it down in only 2 areas, the east side and the Westshore area. Moving along, we do have a tab for small businesses, and so the importance, and you recall that we have contracts with Prospera and the Hillsborough County the Hillsborough County Collaborative Center, where we are using our small business navigator to identify businesses, whether they are micro businesses, small businesses, or larger businesses that need assistance, and then they are being connected with these resources, be it for workshops or for technical assistance. And so when we look at small businesses, there are a lot of areas in which we have opportunities to support them. We do acknowledge that there are certain gaps in the services that we provide to them through these agencies that we contract with. And we plan to plug some of those gaps by the next fiscal year. I would like to highlight the cash flow capacity that we saw in the fourth quarter of 2023, when almost 22% of small businesses that were polled actually responded they don't have enough money to survive more than 2 weeks. So this is a cash flow issue, and it's certainly an opportunity for technical assistance and support from these agencies. You also recall that we do have an agreement with Tampa Bay Wave to be an accelerator for tech businesses. We don't have a lot of information on the startups yet, but the information that we have is actually very good. We're looking at the number of startups and the actual number of investors that are able to divest from their business and sell it. And so, someone just graduating from college may be able to sell their IT company and make a couple of million or billion in some cases. So it's certainly happening in Tampa, and we want to make sure that we continue contributing to that success. Consumer spending is going to help us identify what industries are doing better or worse in some cases. And so again, we can once we identify these industries within certain areas, then we can go in there, we can bring them into the fold with additional technical assistance. You are going to hear more from me in future meetings where we're going to be talking about scaling up of businesses and supporting second stage businesses so they can grow beyond what they may have been experiencing up to now. And then the community profiles tab really is the most important because it's going to reflect everything we do. This community profile tab is critical. It shows population in poverty, and although we do see a decrease in poverty, and looking at 15.5% as of 2022, if there is a message I can leave you with today, and I'm not an economist, I want to make that clear, but it's my opinion that a city is only as strong as its most vulnerable. So as long as we have poverty in the city, then we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do to help people be upscale so they can take better jobs, higher paid jobs. We need to support existing businesses so they can expand. We need to support the activities of our partner organizations so we can bring more businesses into the city of Tampa. And so again, there are additional indicators there that, as Director McKenzie said, we invite you to take a look. Please give us a call if you find any areas where you would like to see improvements. And again, my message is we are working with a lot of different organizations. We haven't typically heard from them. You're going to hear from the EDC in April when we come back on April the 26th to discuss what they're doing in terms of attracting businesses and supporting the growth or the increase of the average wage. In May, we're going to be coming to you again to discuss low-income or the fresh food initiatives, where we're going to be able to bring some retail to the low-income areas. And then I would also like to, at some point in time, start bringing some of these other agencies that provide these critical services to the businesses. And with that, I appreciate the opportunity, and I hope you have a great lunch. Do you have
Thank
any
you very
questions for
much.
me?
Nope, we're in recess till 1:30.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.